Tape number 1 in the deposition of Charles Anthony Hughes in the matter of Nutrition Distribution LLC versus Enhanced Athlete Inc. et al. In the United States District Court, Eastern District of California, case number 2:7-CV-01491-TLN-KJN. Today is May 29th, 2018, and the time on the video monitor is 9:22 a.m. The videographer today is Lisa Allen, representing Planet Depos. This video deposition is taking place at 626 Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90017. Will counsel please voice identify themselves and state whom they represent?
Robert Towler, counsel for plaintiffs, Nutrition Distribution.
Richard N. Gray, counsel for defendant, Enhanced Athlete, Inc.
Anthony Pizarro, Mr. Hughes' criminal defense attorney, here to represent him for the purposes of this deposition.
Will the court reporter please swear in the witness?
Please raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
As a threshold matter, I'd like to note for the record that there is counsel present that is not counsel of record for Mr. Hughes in this action or for Enhanced Athlete. There's been no substitution, and he's representing Mr. Hughes, who's apparently subject to some sort of criminal penalty, and I would object, and I'm asking him to leave because he's not allowed to be here pursuant to the party's protective order entered on March 7th, 2018, and I have a copy if you'd like to review it.
Please. We can go off record while I read this.
We don't have time for that.
Okay. Well, I'm not going anywhere. If Mr. Toller would like to terminate this deposition and go get a protective order to keep me out of here, he's more than welcome to.
I got one right in front of you.
Fantastic. Mr. Hughes is here today by order of the court. His presence should not be construed as taking any position whatsoever concerning the relationship, if any, with Enhanced Athlete. To the extent that any questions here today, Mr. Toller, raise issues that are subject of this criminal investigation, he's going to be invoking his Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself. So I'll be here to make sure that your questions don't unnecessarily infringe upon his right, Fifth Amendment right.
I understand that, but I believe Mr. Hughes is perfectly capable to do that on his own. Moreover, you have to follow the rules, and you have to follow the court order. If you want to start this deposition by violating a court order, that's on you, and there will be penalties for that.
Okay, Mr. Toller, you're more than welcome to start the deposition.
Okay.
Your objection's been noted, sir. You're more than welcome to start the deposition.
I know, you don't have to yell. The second thing I'd like to note is, from my understanding, only Enhanced Athlete is under criminal investigation. Are you saying that Mr. Hughes is under criminal investigation as well?
Well, I'm not inclined to answer that. You've done your research. You know Enhanced Athlete. You're making, I see the allegations.
I have no idea what's going on with respect to a criminal investigation.
Okay.
If you're asserting that you're here based on an investigation with respect to Mr. Hughes, personally, then that will change the dynamic of my objections to whatever you might state. And so it's important to know at the outset what exactly is going on. If it's just this criminal investigation with respect to Enhanced Athlete, then I would posit that there's absolutely no basis for a criminal lawyer to be present with respect to Mr. Hughes.
I'm sorry. Don't the allegations of your complaint allege alter ego and that Mr. Hughes is also an officer, an Enhanced Athlete? Isn't that the basis of you getting him to appear here today? Yes or no?
I'm asking the questions
No,
here.
I'm asking the questions.
No, you're not allowed to ask me questions. All right?
We can sit here and argue all day. You can waste more time.
As you know,
or you can
I'm
just
not
do
wasting
your
any
deposition.
time. I think this is quite critical.
Okay.
The Fifth Amendment privilege only extends to individuals. If Mr. Hughes wants to invoke that privilege on his own, it's his prerogative. However, if the investigation is only with respect to a commercial entity, a corporate entity, then the Fifth Amendment privilege does not extend to that entity, and I know that you know that.
That's not necessarily true.
Well, we're going to disagree. If you're threatening to, I'm asking you to leave, you're in violation of a court order. We'll take the proper steps to deal with that, okay? So let's commence with the deposition. First things first, I have to serve you with these, Mr. Hughes. These are, apparently there was some problem with where your prior counsel wouldn't accept service on your behalf. This is service of the 2 active lawsuits. For the record, this is the Nutrition Distribution versus Enhanced Athlete, Scott Cavell, Enhanced Athlete, Gilmore Engineering, and Charles Anthony Hughes, case number 217CV02069. And I'm serving you with that on the record. The second matter is the SARMS case, the reason we're here, case number 217CV01491, and I'm serving you with that. All right.
May I look at those as well?
Of course.
Yeah. These are two different cases?
Yes. One is colloquially referred to as a SARMS case, and one is a DMP case.
Okay. Got it.
I wasn't aware of any problem with prior counsel not accepting service. This is new to me.
Yeah, well, it's not new to me. It's been going on for a while. All right, let's get started. Mr. Hughes, you've been sworn in. You're here pursuant to a court order, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit A, I'd like to designate the court order compelling Mr. Hughes' attendance. If you'd like to reference it, here it is.
Okay.
Exhibit 1, sorry. I'd like to go with numbers instead of letters. And Exhibit 2 will be the notice of deposition for today's deposition. I'm sure you've seen this, counsel. Have you seen this document before, Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, and it's basically just a follow-up to the court order confirming the date and time today. I just wanted to make sure you had that in your possession and had reviewed it. Now, Mr. Hughes, if you're ready, part of the reason you're here is as a corporate designee, managing agent for marketing for Enhanced Athlete. Are you familiar with some of the pleading that went back and forth on that matter?
Objection. Fifth Amendment.
First of all, you can't make objections on the record. You're not counsel.
Oh, it's going to be a
You
long
cannot-
deposition.
That's his counsel of record. You're his criminal lawyer. You're not counsel in this matter. You cannot make objections on the record, period.
Okay.
I mean, it's a fact.
Okay.
You're violating a court order. Do you know that?
I don't think so.
This is a serious problem.
We can
I don't think you
disagree.
should take your obligations so lightly.
I think that
He can make objections. You cannot.
Okay,
period.
he's not even his counsel of record, so why is it that he can make an
So
objection
he
like
doesn't
that?
have counsel of record?
He
There's-
has me here.
There's no
representing him of the
substitution of counsel in this
Okay.
case.
Who
He
is-
represents Enhanced Athlete, and he's partially
okay.
here as a representative of Enhanced Athlete.
Okay.
Those are all facts. You are not entitled to make objections on the record, period.
Wait, I'm here as partially a representative of Enhanced Athlete.
Correct.
And also a defendant.
Also, you were just served, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I don't have counsel of record.
Correct.
So how would I need a substitution if there's no attorney to substitute out?
Well, you can represent yourself if you want. He is not your counsel of record, is my point.
So, okay, let's say we wanted to. I'm not saying
Stop.
we have to.
Stop. Don't entertain this. Listen, if you have a problem with it, we can go on law and motion when
We
you
will.
argue about these objections. But I'm objecting. I think you should just get over it and continue, and we can deal with it later, Mr. Toller. His Fifth Amendment right is too important.
He has his Fifth Amendment rights, irrespective of whether you're sitting here. What I'm saying is that you need to follow procedures, and you can't just, come in here cavalierly. I've never met you before in my life. I have no idea who you are.
Okay.
You're not part of this case, period, and interpose objections on behalf of Mr. Hughes. You just can't do it. Those are the rules. They're very clear. You're clearly completely out of your league with respect to civil litigation. You're a criminal lawyer, right?
I'm both, and I actually
Okay,
am
well,
far
then
from
you
out of
should
my
know the
league, sir.
rules.
I
You
know
should
the
know
rules.
the rules.
That's why
Well,
you're
you should know them
talking
better.
Blah, blah, blah. I think you should just keep you in your deposition.
I would ask for you to be a little bit more mature, but thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Hughes, let's proceed with the questioning. With your role at Enhanced Athlete, you created the handle Enhanced Athlete for Instagram, correct?
Objection. Fifth. Instruct and not answer.
You can answer.
If I answer, I waive my Fifth Amendment right.
Correct.
You can take the fifth. This is ridiculous. He's not your lawyer for this case.
Okay, I'll repeat what he says. I take the Fifth Amendment.
have you ever posted on the handle Enhanced Athlete on Instagram?
I plead the fifth.
You can't talk. This is totally. Is he in the camera?
A little bit.
Okay, make him a little more in the camera because I want the court to see this. He's whispering answers in his ear after I've asked a question. It's totally inappropriate.
I'm instructing him to not answer.
You cannot do that.
I'm going to keep doing it.
I would ask you not to raise.
I'd ask you not to raise your voice at me.
I don't think I did.
I think you did.
Well, we'll disagree on that.
Okay, let's agree to disagree.
You cannot whisper answer in the witness's ear.
I'm going to continue objecting.
You can't do that.
Okay. I'm doing it.
I'm telling you, this is a big issue.
Okay.
This is a big problem.
Okay.
All right. Let me ask the question again. Have you ever posted on Instagram with respect to the Enhanced Athlete brand?
Objection.
I plead the fifth.
So, posting on Instagram is like a criminal activity. Is that what you're saying?
I plead the fifth.
You can't whisper. For the record, I mean, this is all on videotape, right? He's in there. You could see him leaning in and giving him answers.
I'm not leaning in. I'm not whispering. I'm objecting.
You don't
on the
have
fifth.
to say what happens. There's a video of it.
I understand that. You're the.
So,
do what you told me not to do. Are you like here? Are you checked in?
I'm very much checked in.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a counsel of record as filed with the court, and here we have
Enhanced
two cases.
Athlete has a counsel. He's right there.
Yes, but you just served me.
Right, but this is under your 30B6 as a person most knowledgeable as a managing agent of Enhanced Athlete with respect to its advertising. These questions directly relate to that.
I'm a
If anyone's
defendant in the
objecting, it's him.
lawsuit. I'm a named defendant.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But these questions are with respect to your 30B6 deposition notice where you're answering on behalf of Enhanced Athlete.
So I'm not allowed to have an attorney?
He's your attorney is my point.
No,
He's not my attorney because I'm not
He's
an agent
Enhanced
of
Athlete's attorney.
For the record, him taking the position that that's his attorney and he's associated with Enhanced Athlete is incriminating. Do you not understand what the criminal investigation is about?
You obviously don't understand that the court has already ruled that Mr. Hughes is a managing agent.
I know. Do you not understand? No, the court.
Did you know that?
Yes, I've read the rule. I've read the ruling.
You read his
It
order.
was enough to get him here, but the court is not taking any position.
You may be thinking about a different order.
Okay.
Because there's another order that says...
The February 12th one? The February 14th
February
one?
12th.
February 14th? I've got it, sir.
All right, well, have you read it?
Read it.
All right, what does it say?
It says that...
Mr. Hughes is the managing agent of Enhanced Athlete. And that's what these questions are directed to. His role as managing agent for the advertising of
Mr.
Enhanced
Toller.
Athlete. Correct?
Yes, let me tell you something,
So
Mr. Toller.
he
There
is
have
his
been
lawyer.
statements that have been made so far by Mr. Hughes, and he's no longer making statements. I understand you were able to use the statements he's already made to get your court order, bringing him as a party designee, but in terms of any further statements, he's not making them. Whether or not he's an officer of Enhanced Athlete, whether or not he's the marketing person behind everything, goes to the crux of the criminal investigation.
The criminal investigation is only with respect to Enhanced Athlete as far as I know. Are you telling me different?
I'm not telling you anything you
Well,
probably don't already know.
I think you need to provide some basis as to why you would have a blanket
I'll provide
objection.
the basis on the law in motion. Right now, it's just the
Well,
objection.
it's been very hard to get Mr.
Wait,
Hughes
guys,
here.
I need it one at a time. I
Correct.
can only get one person
Got you,
at a
got
time.
you. Go ahead.
Sorry. I lost my train of thought there. Go ahead.
I would say that the court's made very clear why he's here today. And there's only one counsel of record for Enhanced Athlete. And these questions only have to do with Enhanced Athlete. If he wants to take the fifth, it's his prerogative. But having you parachute in here when you're not even counsel of record, whispering in his ear, after I have provided a question that's directly relevant to the court's order, is contempt of court.
I understand all the questions are relevant, but there is an ongoing criminal investigation here.
I need to know the parameters of that in order to make an assessment whether or not the invocation of the fifth is proper.
I can only tell you what I know based on my understanding, based on conversations with other defendants.
And what is it? I'm happy to go off the record if you'd like. Or
Yeah.
okay, off the record, please.
We are now going off the record. The time is 9:36 a.m. We are now back on the record. The time is 9:38 a.m.
Council has just engaged in an off-the-record discussion, which I think will be helpful for moving this deposition along. I just want to state for the record, as counsel for Enhanced Athlete, Inc., that we have no objection to Mr. Hughes having separate counsel to assert his constitutional privilege.
Thank you. I'd like to move to Exhibit 3. This is a declaration of Scott Cavell dated February 1st, 2018. Have you seen this document before, Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Did you see it before it was prepared on February 1st?
No.
Do you remember when you first saw it?
No.
Was it recently or was it around this time?
It was a long time ago.
Okay. Now, it says, this is a declaration Mr. Cavell made in opposition to my motion to compel you to deposition. And in this declaration, which was prepared by Rattan and Tucker, former counsel, it appears that Mr. Cavell concedes that he's selling SARMs in paragraph 5. And I'll read it for the record. Nutrition Distribution contends Mr. Hughes is a founder of Enhanced Athlete, although Mr. Hughes and I discussed how it would be helpful to the consuming public for there to be a company that would market nutritional supplements and products in a way that would be more transparent than how such products generally were being marketed at the time. I was the sole founder of Enhanced Athlete. Is that statement true, Mr. Hughes?
I'm just thinking if I need to object that.
Object. Fifth. Struck to
Okay,
non-answer.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Then it says, after Enhanced Athlete was created, Mr. Hughes agreed to serve as brand ambassador for Enhanced Athlete. When was Enhanced Athlete created?
I don't remember.
Did you ever serve as brand ambassador for Enhanced Athlete?
Objection.
I plead the fifth.
I mean, one thing I'm going to say here is whether we call it a brand ambassador or advertising guru or big man in charge or whatever it is, I mean, there's a lot of evidence of what he did, so I don't think that Fifth Amendment would be appropriate when it's effectively been waived by his agreement. So why don't we put this one on hold and just move on to some of the evidence we have?
It hasn't been provided by my agreement, has it?
I beg your pardon?
You said that I provided all this by agreement, so I've waived my fifth. How did I provide this by agreement?
Well, you provided it publicly.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really an agreement, but
So
we can argue semantics there, but this is all
moving
public.
away from the declaration of Scott Cavell.
Yes, we'll get back to that later. I'd like to move to Exhibit 4. So, on September 17th, 2015, someone with the enhancedathlete.com Facebook page posted about a product called Ostemuscle, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Is that your picture there in the Enhanced Athlete icon, next to the Enhanced Athlete icon in the upper right-hand corner?
Yes.
And at this time, it's as of September 17th, 2015, were you marketing a product called Ostemuscle?
I plead the fifth.
Were you involved with a company called iEnhanced?
I plead the fifth.
All right, Exhibit 5. Moving on to October of 2015, It shows the same Instagram handle this time. The first one was a Facebook, excuse me. This is an Instagram handle bearing the name Enhanced Athlete, correct?
I'm looking at the same thing you
Yeah,
are,
the
so I don't know
document,
what you mean.
document
Correct.
speaks for itself, right? And this Instagram post dated October 21, 2015 shows Enhanced Athlete marketing a product called Code Red, correct?
I plead the fifth.
And it's under the brand iEnhanced, correct?
I mean, I'm looking at the same document you are, but as to any of my personal knowledge, I plead the fifth.
Okay. I'm just creating a record. This is 5?
6.
6, okay. Oops, that's one of many of the same. Let's just do both of these as 6, because they're very similar. Yeah, just all 6. Doesn't really matter.
So just the two, these two photos?
Those 2 pages, yeah. Okay, so this is an Instagram post dated, the first page is an Instagram post dated October 6, 2015, where the Enhanced Athlete Instagram post shows you flexing, and there's a hashtag, hashtag Ostemuscle. Did you create this?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, moving on to the next page. This is a Facebook post on or around the same date, October 15th, 2015. The same hashtag appears, Ostemuscle, and that's a picture of you, correct?
I plead the fifth.
You don't have a twin brother or anything like that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And it says here that you've been taking Ostemuscle, that you're 3.5 weeks out from a bodybuilding contest, and that you're burning fat and keeping all precious hard-earned muscle. The very next phrase says that there are no side effects. Do you remember making these statements?
It doesn't say there are no side effects. It says no side effects, period.
So, in other words, you had no side effects.
Well, I plead the fifth. I'm just
Okay.
rephrasing what you said.
So you believe this is intended to say that the individual in this picture had no side effects and not that there are no side effects.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Number 7. This is an Instagram post from the Enhanced Athlete Instagram account dated November 9th, 2015. And here there appears to be a logo for the company iEnhanced. Do you know what the company iEnhanced is?
I plead the fifth.
It also cites a website called www.titanhard.com. Are you familiar with that website?
I plead the fifth.
Do you have any idea what that website did?
I plead the fifth.
And there's a hashtag iEnhanced. What was the relationship between Titan Hard and iEnhanced at this time?
I plead the fifth.
Number 8. This is a Facebook post dated October 30th, 2015, which appears to be an attaché case with the aforesaid products, Code Red and Ostemuscle, under the iEnhanced brand. My question to you, Mr. Hughes, what is it that you see in the upper left-hand corner of that briefcase? What is that product?
Can you answer what I see on?
You're not allowed to ask your attorney for help in the middle of a
I'm not
question.
sure what you were referring to.
I'm just asking what's in the document, and do you know what's in that bag there in the upper left-hand corner, inside the briefcase?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. So if you look closely, it says DNP. Do you know what DNP is?
Yeah, I plead the fifth.
No take backsies. Got him. All right, let's go. Now, it says here in the description of this Facebook page, there's a hashtag DNP. And you don't know who drafted this, do you?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know if, so you've already stated you plead the fifth with respect to whether you made posts on the enhancedathlete.com Facebook page at this time. Do you know of anyone else who did?
I plead the fifth.
You can't plead the fifth for other people. Only for yourself.
I plead the fifth for myself.
Okay. Do you know of any other people that were posting on this account at this time?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. I mean, I would, if it has to do with other people, you have to say, because the Fifth Amendment privilege only applies to yourself. So if you said no, you know, it's kind of a tricky question. But
yeah, it gets real slippery.
we'll just leave that one as is. I'm assuming, for the record, that there were no other people, but I understand the implications of that. All right, number 9.
I'm sorry, I might have missed something, but I don't think this gentleman went on the record and introduced
Oh.
himself.
This is also with us here today is Kevin Smith. He's the president of Plaintiff Nutrition Distribution. Unless you, sorry to steal your thunder.
You're good.
Okay. This is Exhibit 9. This is a post from the iEnhanced Facebook page on December 6, 2015. And it reads, "This is Anthony Hughes. I just need 25 likes for this page to be able to merge with iEnhanced so I can rebrand to Enhanced Athlete. Please like this page. Then when they merge, it will delete this page and keep Enhanced Athlete." Do you recall making this post?
I plead the fifth.
Did you ever control the iEnhanced Facebook account?
I plead the
Are
fifth.
you aware of anyone else who might have controlled the account?
I plead the fifth.
Did iEnhanced ever merge with Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Number 10. This is all still in 2015. Hashtag Ostemuscle. Building muscle like steroids without the steroids. Hashtag SARMs. The future of supplements and the end of steroids. www.enhancedathlete.com. Did you post this on Enhanced Athlete's Facebook page?
I plead the fifth.
You'll notice that by this time there actually has been a rebrand, and now the Ostemuscle is marketed under the Enhanced Athlete brand. Are you aware of when this switch occurred?
I plead the fifth.
Number 11.
It's 2 pages.
It is, yeah. These are screenshots taken from the Wayback Machine that archives web pages. And this is what www.titanhard.com looked like on January 12th, 2016. Are you familiar with the website titanhard.com?
I plead the fifth.
If you look at the second page, is that your picture?
I plead the fifth.
You don't have a twin brother or anything like that, right?
Right.
Okay. Looking at the bottom of the second page, it shows that dinotriphenol, DNP, is for sale. Do you see that?
I see it.
Were you ever engaged in the sale of DNP?
I plead the fifth.
Now you see next to the DNP, you see Code Red being sold and Austin Muscle being sold. Were you ever engaged in the sale of these products?
I plead the fifth.
Did you ever have control of the TitanHard.com URL?
I plead the fifth.
Number 12. I think this is all one exhibit. Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got confused there. This is page 1. This is, there's actually 3 pages. Yeah, there's 3 pages to the first part. And then,
But these are all the same pages here.
oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are all the same.
I think there's only 3 pages here. Breaking my own rules here. The paper clips are for you. So that'll be the next exhibit. Those 3 pages
Okay.
will be
This is
exhibit 12. Correct.
Okay, that's an extra. Yeah.
3 pages down, I have 2.
Oh, then that.
I actually need this one too. About us, yeah. Those are the 2 main ones. Those are the 2 pages you need.
Okay, so only 2, not 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're double-sided.
Wait, which two, please?
This is the first one, the one that says "Build Muscle, Burn Fat."
And it's double-sided?
Yes, and this is the third, technically the 3rd page.
Okay.
So, Exhibit 12, it's this URL, TitanHard.com. This time it's dated March 5th, 2016, and again, this is taken from the Web Archive, also known as the Wayback Machine. And now it's under the branding EnhancedAthlete.com, even though the URL is TitanHard.com. Do you remember when TitanHard redirected to EnhancedAthlete.com?
I plead the fifth.
Were you involved at all with the genesis of the URL EnhancedAthlete.com?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, we'll look at the bottom of the page here. The 3rd sentence in the first page says, "Our products are clinically tested for optimal purity and potency." Are you aware of any testing of these products?
I plead the fifth.
Generally, what do you consider to be clinically tested? I'm just asking for like your definition outside of this.
Well, it could be, that's a pretty broad phrase, so it could be any scientific test.
Do you think that it has to be done by scientists, for example?
To be a clinically tested would have to be done in a clinic.
What do you mean by clinic?
Well, like a home is not a clinic.
Okay,
Clinic would
so
be professional
something under the
business.
auspices of a PhD. Is that fair?
I would think clinical means the location.
So it could be like a HGH clinic. So do scientists have to be involved as you consider
In
this
a
term?
Clinical, in the definition of clinical testing, I don't think it requires a scientist. It requires a location and business that has the proper machinery.
So in your mind, it is
Clinic, it's more location.
okay. So you're referring here mostly to like testing for certain like percentages of compounds for purity and that sort of thing.
You're asking for my definition, irrespective
As you
of
read
this,
this, correct?
irrespective of this document.
Correct.
What was the question again?
You consider, for example, chemical testing that may not be done by a scientist. It could be done by a junior high chemistry test. That would meet your definition of clinical testing?
Yes.
Okay. The very next page, the About Us page, which is technically page 3, says About Us, and it says Enhanced Athlete is the only supplement and research chemical company that is non-profit by design. Is Enhanced Athlete a non-profit?
I plead the fifth.
Are you under criminal investigation as to whether or not it's a non-profit?
I don't know all the elements of
what
the
is that?
crimes.
Do you know I mean, is it a crime to call something a nonprofit? I mean, I don't see how this is in any way related to a criminal act. I'm just asking whether or not if you know whether Enhanced Athlete is a nonprofit or whether it makes profit, distributes those profits.
I plead the fifth.
All proceeds from our sales are used for further research and development of Enhanced Athlete products. Was this true as of March 22, 2016?
I plead the fifth.
All right, 13. Okay, this is a post from the, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is a post from the Enhanced Athlete webpage. This is now dated April 2nd, 2016. It says, eating whatever I want and still losing fat and gaining muscle. One of the only issues I've had as far as getting older is my metabolism. And it goes on, and in the middle, it starts talking about DMP. This is about 8 or 9 lines from the top. It says, secondarily, the DMP, which keeps insulin levels lower and burns off the excess calories, is heat. And third, an anabolic, which I just said. So is DMP pictured in your hand here?
I plead the fifth.
Does DMP keep insulin levels lower?
I
Based on your personal knowledge.
yes.
Does it burn off excess calories as heat?
You know, I do have to consult with my criminal defense attorney because I
Just answer the. You can't consult with him while the question's pending. So just answer the question. You can
okay.
consult with him.
Ask the question again.
Does DMP burn off excess calories as heat?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Do you want to consult?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to take 5? Yeah, off the record. Let's
We're now
take
on
5.
record.
Yeah,
The time is
sure.
10:01 a.m. We are now back on the record. The time is 10:09 a.m.
Okay, so this will be 14, and this is dated, now we're in 2016, in April of 2016, and it's a picture of what appears to be Mr. Hughes and 2 Enhanced Athlete models saying, and it reads, anything worth having is worth working hard for. Never thought hashtag Enhanced Athlete would be such a success. By April of 2016, was Enhanced Athlete a success?
I plead the fifth.
Are you familiar with, do you remember writing this?
I plead the fifth.
And then underneath it says hashtag Osterine, hashtag SARMs. Do you remember writing that?
I plead the fifth.
Then it says hashtag Iron Bunny Supply. What's Iron Bunny Supply?
I plead the fifth.
And then it says hashtag 360 Labs Athlete. What's 360 Labs Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Who's Kirby Quick?
I plead the fifth.
Do you see there where he says awesome at the bottom?
Yes.
Doesn't Kirby Quick work for Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
You don't know?
I plead the fifth.
Whether he works at Enhanced Athlete is going to subject you to criminal liability? Is that what you're saying? It has nothing to do with you, I thought.
Looks like you're trying to make it have something to do with me.
I already know that he does work there, so I can make that link. I'm just asking you
So why are you asking me?
because you're not entitled to Fifth Amendment protection for third parties. My question to you is simply whether if you know Mr. Kirby Quick works at Enhanced Athlete.
My knowledge about Enhanced Athlete stuff is exactly would try to tie me into a criminal case.
But you know who Kirby Quick is, right?
I plead the fifth.
Well, I mean, he's the only person who liked this. He's the only person who wrote a comment on this post in April 2016. So you must have known him back then, correct?
I plead the fifth.
right around this time you were being successful. You started getting successful with Enhanced Athlete. You started a company called Blue Water Holdings. That's March 21st, 2016. This will be Exhibit 15.
Question?
I'm just preparing the exhibits. Here you go. This will be 15. So it says here, March 21st, 2016, Blue Water Holdings LLC was formed according to the Secretary of State. What does Blue Water Holdings LLC do? For the record, he's asking for an answer from his criminal defense attorney.
For the record, I was telling my criminal defense attorney something I wasn't a question.
You can't do that. You're supposed to answer my questions. You're not allowed to consult them. If they have an objection, they can make an objection. You know these rules. You're an attorney yourself. Now, I'll ask the question again. What does Blue Water Holdings LLC do?
I plead the fifth.
If we look at the second page here, it says that it started by someone named Courtney Pearson. Who's Courtney Pearson?
I plead the fifth.
You don't know who Courtney Pearson is?
I plead the fifth.
Again, I would object. I don't think that you're just simply if you know someone is any way related to a crime. I mean, I'm just asking if you know who Courtney Pearson is.
I think if I do know someone that's involved in a crime, then it starts tying me into it,
Okay.
especially when it's a broad conspiracy charge.
Okay. And is that what you're being charged with? A broad conspiracy charge?
I plead the fifth, or I'm not going
I don't
to
think
tell
it's
you
a
the
fifth
details
thing.
of it.
Well, we'll leave that aside. Does Courtney Pearson works for Enhanced Athlete, correct?
I plead the fifth.
I already know the answer to that one too. All right, let's move on to 16. You often claim in social media that you often go by the moniker Dr. Tony Hughes, correct?
I plead the fifth.
It's not a crime to just go by a stage name, is it?
You're asking for my legal
I
opinion?
mean, there's literally thousands of posts with you referring to you as Dr. Tony Hughes. I don't know why you're drawing the line here. It's not. I'm not even your lawyer, but I just don't think it's going to be great for motion practice. So, have you ever referred to yourself as Dr. Hughes? I mean, I have a stack of documents saying this, so you can, if you don't want to admit that, I mean, it's a very basic kind of thing.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. You're not a doctor, are you?
I have a doctorate degree of jurisprudence.
From where?
Lincoln Law School.
What's Lincoln Law School?
Sacramento Law School.
Is it accredited?
Yes.
By what?
California.
What about the ABA?
No.
Did you do a night program there?
Yes.
How long did it take?
4 years.
And when did you graduate?
2007, I think.
And so, since it was a night program, it wasn't the traditional schedule of colleges where you start a year in the fall and end in the spring. Is that correct? Or is it like year-round?
I think it's year round because there's summer classes. You have to do some summer classes.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being year round for like 2 out of the 4 years, and then 2 years you get the summer off. Something like that. It's hard to remember.
And so you graduated sometime in 2017. And you took the bar, what, February 2017 or sorry,
I think the summer.
2007.
I think the summer of 2007.
Okay. And you got your bar license, correct?
Yes.
And so you said you got a doctorate of laws? Do you mean a JD?
Yeah.
So what makes you think a JD is a doctorate of laws?
It's a doctorate degree.
It's a Juris Doctorate, but it's not a doctorate. Like it doesn't. You don't really think it allows you to call yourself a doctor, do you?
Yes.
So you think I can call myself a doctor? He can call himself a doctor. We're all doctors. Is that what you
I
think?
call a doctor by certain clients a certain
Well,
ethnicities.
what your clients have thought at the time, I really don't know. But I'm referring, so all, according to you, every lawyer can say DR in front of their name?
Just like every chiropractor, every dentist,
Okay.
every medical doctor, every doctorate.
So
of
why don't they?
Degree. I don't know.
No
some,
idea.
Some, some
You're
do.
the only person to figure this out.
Some chiropractors demand me
I'm
to
not
call them
talking
a
about
doctor.
chiropractors.
One at a time, please.
Yeah, I'm talking about lawyers. Do you know of any other lawyer who calls himself a doctor?
I don't remember. I haven't been in the lawyer circle for a while.
Did you ever refer to yourself as a doctor when you were a lawyer?
No, my friends did.
Which friends?
I don't remember. Just
So
generally
you had
called me
friends
doctor.
back in when was this?
As soon as I became a lawyer.
So in 2007, you had friends that referred to you as doctor.
Right.
Doctor what?
Just doctor.
Just because? Like a nickname, or did it have anything to do with your practice of law?
It had to do with getting my doctorate of jurisprudence.
Oh, so they would say, "Hey, doctor, you're a doctor now." Pat on the back, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And you didn't stop them
No.
because you believed in your heart of hearts that lawyers are allowed to call themselves doctors. Is that what you're saying?
It's just friends calling each other's names.
But you adopted it, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So you didn't stop them.
Right.
Right. So is there any type of research you did to determine whether or not lawyers can call themselves doctors?
In what forum? I mean, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Not really. I can't put up a shingle saying I'm a doctor and give people medicine. Is that what you? Of course not.
No, and I
Doctor's
never
a
said-
very special thing, right? A doctor's allowed to prescribe medicine. You can't just go around calling yourself a doctor,
Where are
right?
you going with this?
Yeah, we're way off topic.
That's not an objection.
No, it's not an objection, it's just an observation.
Well, I mean, I'm very curious about why this man would conceivably consider himself a doctor after getting a JD. It's not even a doctorate. It's not even an LLM or something that is like an advanced degree in law. It's just a run-of-the-mill JD. Same thing I have. So am I Dr. Robert Towler?
Well, I feel like you're just, his friends maybe called him doctor, so what? It's a friend thing.
Stop
Now-
testifying for him. You're not
now
allowed
we're
to
sitting here and you're going on
Objection.
some tangent.
You're not allowed.
Trying to draw. I see what
You
you're
are
trying
not
to do.
allowed
You're trying to walk him into some bullshit. You're absolutely.
I would ask that you not cuss.
I would ask that when he
You're
invokes the fifth, just move on from the question.
You're yelling at me,
I'm not
and you
yelling
are
at
using
you.
obscene language, and you're not even his lawyer, as far as I can tell. So I don't even know what the heck you're doing here, let alone
I don't know what
making.
you're doing.
I don't even. You'll find out soon enough.
No.
Now, speaking objections, you're not allowed to do. Do
I
you know
understand that.
So then, why are you doing
Stop talking to me so condescending.
it? I'm not condescending. I'm
Really?
telling you the
Do you
law.
not have a mirror? Do you not see yourself? You have no
I don't
self-awareness.
have a mirror right now.
You don't have self-awareness, do you? Not very much. I can tell.
I would really appreciate if you didn't insult me. This is serious.
Well, have self-awareness. Don't
I have-
attack me. Don't be condescending.
This is not about me. This is about your objections that you said are improper.
I never
I
said
would
that.
just ask you to stop making speaking objections, okay? You've been warned.
That's fair.
I would ask the court reporter to mark this portion of the record. I forgot the question.
Not surprising.
Do you? Oh, now it's Laurel and Hardy over here.
No, it's not Laurel and Hardy.
all right,
I'd
what
like
is
us
it?
to move on.
I know you
We're gonna be
would.
here
I know you would, but it's not
forever.
your deposition. It's mine, and I'm
What
not
he
moving
does,
on.
and then he calls you out when you try to get back at him. Don't talk to him like that.
What are you? His like guardian?
What are you?
What's your role here?
What's your role here? Besides asking
I am the
irrelevant
plaintiff's-
questions.
I am the plaintiff's
Well, then
counsel.
start talking about
What
the
are you?
deposition, not what his friends called him 15 years ago, however
I'll
long
ask
ago.
whatever I want within
Okay,
7
keep
hours.
wasting our time, buddy.
Look, I don't think I'm wasting anyone's time here. I'm trying to do my job. You're making speaking objections. I've noted that it's improper to do that, and I would ask you to not do that, period. So you have no formal medical training whatsoever, correct?
What do you define formal medical training?
How would you define it? Like you have a certificate or
I
something
wouldn't
from
use
someone.
that
Have you
terminology.
ever taken any classes on medicine?
Other than college,
What classes in college?
chemistry, biology, physics,
Anything else besides that?
maybe anatomy, things like that, but I don't remember.
You don't remember them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So
all the
when did you
classes.
graduate high school?
2000.
And when did you start law school?
I don't know.
2003? If you graduated in 2007, it's a 4-year program, I'm just assuming.
4-year program, graduated in 2007.
Yeah, so it'd be 2003 roughly. That's what the math says.
Yeah, I don't know, depending
Okay.
on when the year.
So what did
lines
you
up.
do between 2000 and 2003?
College, undergraduate,
Okay, so where did you go to college?
Sacramento State University and American River College.
Oh, so you went to both?
Yes.
Is American River like a 2-year school?
Yes.
So you went there first and then you graduated from Sacramento State?
I never graduated
Oh,
college.
so then how'd you go to law school?
You don't have to graduate.
Lincoln.
You have to just pass the exam, and then there's other requirements. There's other ways to do it besides
it.
go to college.
Why did you stop going to school?
Bored,
Boredom? Why did you think you'd not be bored in law school?
more challenging.
So you thought Sacramento State was too easy? And
Yes.
so you decided to go to Lincoln Law School for a challenge. Is that correct? Okay. What else was happening around this time?
Which time?
2003. When did you start getting into bodybuilding?
Age 14.
And when did you start your first bodybuilding company?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Well, in 2003, you also started a company called HC Pharma. This will be, what's the next exhibit?
16?
16.
Oh, 15. Computer.
Have you ever heard of HC Pharma Tech, Inc.?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, look at page 2. It says you're the president.
Where's
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hand these over.
That'll help.
Yeah. This is taken from the Nevada Business Portal, and it shows the list of all the officers of HC Pharmatech Inc., and it lists you as a president. Were you ever president of HC Pharmatech?
I plead the fifth.
All right. But have you ever heard of HC Pharmatech?
I plead the fifth.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to 17. So 2003 is when HC Pharmatech was formed by you according to the Nevada Secretary of State. And this is right around the time you decided to get a Juris Doctorate. And Exhibit 18 will just be some images about you playing doctor, I guess. This is taken from your Snapchat. And it looks like this first image is of you analyzing some kind of chart. Do you remember doing this?
I plead the fifth.
The chart shows like liver and intestines and things like that. Do you ever remember doing that?
I plead the fifth.
You're not wearing a smock, like a doctor's smock. You're wearing an enhanced athlete T-shirt and a necklace, correct?
I plead the fifth.
And the very next snap is you providing what appears to me to be medical advice. And here it says, according to your snap, taken from your Snapchat, that certain studies are misinterpreted because they don't apply to athletes. Is that your position?
I plead the fifth.
All right.
What number are we on?
This is 18 coming up. This is 18, it's just a group exhibit. The first page is a page on the Enhanced Athlete Facebook page dated May 24th, 2016. And it says DMPCLs at enhancedathlete.com or Scott at enhancedathlete.com. Do you remember making this post?
I plead the fifth.
And do you know who Scott at enhancedathlete.com is?
I plead the fifth.
Scott Cavell, perhaps?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Next page is a snap taken from March of 2016. That's a picture of you and enhancedathlete.com back on DMP, and it says, my favorite supplement. After the competition, I can't stop binge eating 5,000 calories per day. Thank goodness for DMP. Do you remember making these statements?
I plead the fifth.
Now, if I could just get my diet under control on DMP, wow, I would look shredded all year. And it says www.enhancedathletechannel.com. Hashtag fat loss drug. Hashtag fat loss. Do you remember making this post?
I plead the fifth.
All right, next page. This is taken from certain videos posted on the Enhanced Athlete YouTube channel before it was taken down. And in this video, someone is running a cycle of DMP, and you're doing effectively a vlog of this particular individual's experience. And here there is a disclaimer, which admittedly is rather half-hearted, where it says DMP is deadly if you are an idiot and use it incorrectly. So this video is for entertainment purposes only. Don't do anything without your doctor supervising you in a prescription. So is DMP deadly?
I plead the fifth.
Is it deadly only if you're an idiot?
I plead the fifth.
When you say it's for entertainment purposes only, do you think that people might take DMP after watching this?
I plead the fifth.
When you say don't do anything without your doctor supervising, are you referring to yourself?
I plead the
Are you
fifth.
referring to another lawyer?
I plead the fifth.
No, you're talking about an MD, right? All right, the next one at the bottom of the page says, disclaimer, do not take DMP. It is an explosive chemical used as a fertilizer, not meant for human consumption. That sounds good so far, but then the second sentence says, just because we use it to get amazing health and fat loss benefits is not encouragement nor a recommendation you take this deadly chemical, not meant for human consumption. So, do you remember writing this?
I plead the fifth.
Does anyone else edit your videos besides you?
I plead the fifth.
If you're not allowed to withhold names based on the fifth, right? So if you're taking the fifth to protect someone, and you're impeding the civil investigation, then since you're under oath, you would be in contempt of court, right?
I'm not taking the fifth to protect any other person.
Okay. And the next page are a few snaps saying, DMP, my new protocol, 50 milligrams with each meal. And the next one says, day 10 of 200 milligrams of DMP. The next page says, DMP burns so much fat off my abs, I believe you meant abs, you could see the veins. So again, would you consider this promoting DMP consumption?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Next page is a post when you were in Singapore. Do you remember when you were in Singapore?
I plead the fifth.
And here it says, in 48 hours, Coach Trevor and I will be back in the USA, and we're going to do 1,200 milligram DMP blast. Do you mean 1,200 milligrams in a day?
I plead the fifth.
And then it cites enhanceddsp.com. Are you familiar with this website?
I plead the fifth.
All right, next page. Enhancedathlete.com, October 24th, 2016. Excited to start my herb garden when I get back home in the USA. And then the hyperlink is to www.enhanceddmp.com. Are you familiar with this website?
I plead the fifth.
Why do you reference an herb garden?
I plead the fifth.
All right, next page. From a poster on the Enhanced Athlete web page called Jordan Suchuk. It says, I feel I'm obligated to inform everyone here that I ran DMP probably 5 or 6 times with great success, but the cataract side effect is real. Just got back from the eye doc, and I have cataract development in both eyes, more in my left, and I have a date to see the surgeon in November. Do you feel responsible for this?
I plead the fifth.
Is he an idiot?
I plead the fifth.
So that being said, I believe the more times you run more, that percentage increases. I'm 33 years old with no family history of cataracts. I chose to take that risk and don't regret it. So be careful, mates. DMP and cataracts are real. Have you ever told people about cataract side effect of DMP?
I plead the fifth.
Is it common for people who purchase your products to develop cataracts at the age of 33?
I plead the fifth.
Next page. This actually looks like a repeat of the May 24th, 2016. Yeah, so we'll skip that. Here's another promotional thing, this time linking to enhancedathlete.com, and this is dated May 25th, 2016. Here you are in the Philippines doing 200 milligrams of DMP every other day, which you consider to be a low dose to prevent fat gain. Do you remember making this post?
I plead the fifth.
It says, yesterday I had a giant ice cream sundae but took DMP and didn't gain fat. And then you link enhancedathlete.com. You don't remember making this post?
I plead the fifth.
All right.
Is it easier if I say something shorter than repeating the same I plead the fifth?
We can go off the record.
We're now going
We can go
off
fifth.
the record. The time is 10:30. We're now back on the record. The time is 10:32 a.m.
All right, the next page is another post from the Facebook page dated May 30th, 2016. DMP is the world's most fat burner, but while on it, I retain little water. Do you remember making this post?
I plead the fifth.
And again, it links to enhancedathlete.com and hashtag Philippines. Does Enhanced Athlete have distribution in the Philippines?
I plead the fifth.
Is there a entity in the Philippines?
I plead the fifth.
The last page is a post from Ryan James Russo. Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
He's an admin of your Facebook page. At least at this time. Never heard of him?
I plead the fifth.
It says in September 27, 2017, if anyone's looking for real SARM sources, he's the only ones to represent. It goes on and on talking, sort of lauding Enhanced Athlete SARMs. And then it links all of the Enhanced affiliated websites. At this time, it was Scott Supplements. Have you ever heard of that website?
I plead the fifth.
What about EnhancedRx.com?
I plead the fifth.
What about V2EnhancedAthlete.com?
I plead the fifth.
What about EnhancedChemicals.com?
I plead the fifth.
What about theFertilizerWarehouse.com?
I plead the fifth.
According to Russo, that's where you guys sell DMP now because Enhanced Athlete stopped the website Enhanced DMP. Do you recall that at all?
I plead the fifth.
All right, this next exhibit is
19.
19, and here's a redirect taken from the Wayback Machine. This is dated January 25th, 2017, and it shows the website enhanceddmp.com redirecting to the fertilizerwarehouse.com. Do you remember why Enhanced DMP changed to the Fertilizer Warehouse?
I plead the fifth.
Were you involved in that decision at all?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. This next one will be 20. This one is dated February 2017, and this is from Enhanced Athlete's YouTube page. Now, Enhanced Athlete used to have a YouTube page, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. This is it's right in front of you here. It says Enhanced Athlete's YouTube page. And it says here, DNP Talk with Boston Lloyd and Tony Hughes. And then at the bottom there, it says, we discussed www.enhanceddmp.com. So was this video used to promote the consumption of DMP by hyperlinking Enhanced DMP here?
I plead the fifth.
Did you often create videos related to DMP?
I plead the fifth.
Do you remember creating any videos related to DMP, whether or not related for research purposes only?
I plead the fifth.
All right, next one is 21. Have you ever claimed that the deadly drug DMP cures cancer?
I plead the fifth.
Here's a post from September 18th of 2017, and in the comments section, now, mind you, this is after some time has passed, and I believe after this, we'll get into these timeline later, but the Fertilizer Warehouse was shut down sometime shortly after this. And this is you responding to a user from your Instagram, Daniel Cohn, or Danny K1. I will do more videos on DMP. I held back for a long time because of so many people concerned about the health risks. Now that I have thousands of people who have thanked me for it, enhancing their lives, curing diabetes, and even curing cancer, I'm ready to move forward with my research. So, does DMP cure cancer?
I plead the fifth.
Do you have, I mean, that has nothing to do with the crime, if it does or doesn't. It's not a crime if DMP cures cancer. It has nothing to do with the crime. So, I'll ask you again. Does DMP cure cancer?
You're asking me a question about something you're trying to identify as.
Well, you
being
made
so
this
that's the
statement
problem.
here, but I'm asking you outside of this statement, whether you have any knowledge that this compound DMP has the ability to cure cancer.
I plead the fifth.
Why is it criminal that DMP cures cancer? I don't understand that. Can you explain why? Whether, like, if I said caffeine is a stimulant, that's not like a crime I'm doing. It's just like what a compound is doing. So if you have any idea about that independent, I don't see how that would impact any criminal investigation. So I'll ask you again, does a DMP cure cancer?
I plead the fifth.
Does DMP cure diabetes that you know of?
I plead the fifth.
But you're not a medical doctor anyways, right?
Correct.
You're a lawyer.
Correct.
Do you think being a lawyer makes you qualified to make the judgment whether or not DMP cures cancer?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think being a lawyer qualifies you to make the determination whether or not it cures diabetes?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think people who have these ailments might take DMP based upon your statements?
I plead the fifth.
You have no idea. Do you bear any responsibility for this?
I plead the fifth.
Do you take any responsibility for this?
This being exhibit 21.
Correct. No, for these statements, do you bear any responsibility for telling people that DMP cures cancer when in reality it's a deadly pesticide?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Now, from the looks of it, and you don't have to opine on this, but you were running Enhanced Athlete up until Mr. Cavell got out of prison. And you remember Cavell was in prison earlier, correct?
Correct.
You remember he was in prison for fraud, correct?
Correct.
Were you there at his sentencing hearing?
Correct.
You were there?
Yeah.
And so he got out of jail. He was sentenced in 2014. He got out in 2 years, and he eventually became CEO. Why would you make a convicted fraudster CEO of your company?
I plead the fifth.
This is 22. This is from the Bureau of Prisons. And this shows that Mr. Cavell was released on July 22, 2016. And it was I'm sorry. Here you go.
Okay.
And then it was after this time, after July 22nd, 2016, that new entities started to form and Mr. Cavell started taking more day-to-day control of Enhanced Athlete, correct?
I plead the fifth.
All right, do you know who Andrej Wilson is?
I plead the fifth.
He's the one who started the fertilorwarehouse.com, Inc., according to Secretary of State documents. And I'll mark this as Exhibit 23. Ever heard of the guy?
I plead the fifth.
Did you go to school with him?
I plead the fifth.
Again, that doesn't inculpate. If you went to school with a guy, it's like that committed a crime. It doesn't mean you're guilty of a crime. I'm just asking if you know the guy. You want to even tell me that?
Everything you're doing is trying to
related
tie
to-
me to this, which is part of what would be in a criminal indictment, which is conspiracy.
All right. I think you do know Andrej because he actually provided a sentencing memorandum, a letter in support of Mr. Cavell at the very same hearing you just said you attended. Let's mark this as 24. Oh, wait. Yeah, 24. And if we look at...
Okay, counsel, if
I'm sorry,
If you have
ma'am.
any exhibits,
I
you give me
know.
2 seconds.
I'm so
To
sorry.
write it down, and then so I
I'm
can't
gonna
write
stop
and write
drinking
at the same
coffee
time.
immediately.
Thank you.
I only have 3. I can take a look, but I need it back.
All right. This is 23.
Thank you. Okay, so if you're ready, Mr. Hughes. At some point, as we noted earlier with the previous exhibit, Enhanced DMP started redirecting to the fertilizer warehouse. We also know that Andrew Wilson formed an entity called fertilizerwarehouse.com, and according to this document, Mr. Andrew Wilson also filed a letter of support of Mr. Cavell. If you look at page 41, you'll see his signature. And the letter starts on page 38 of this document. And these letters were taken into consideration by Judge Mendez for providing the light sentence to Mr. Cavell. And I'll just read part of it because it's a 4-page document. My name is Andrew Wilson, and I speak on behalf of the character of Scott Cavell. I've known Scott Cavell for 20 years, and we worked together from 2005 to his abrupt departure. Scott helped me get a job and get back on my feet. He obtained a job for me working for Chris Warren. Scott was my manager at WTL Financial. What was your involvement with Scott Cavell at this time?
I plead the 5th.
Were you involved with WTL Financial?
I plead the 5th.
All right. Says here, Scott Cavell's a good person, put into an extremely terrible situation. And all of his previous employees sympathize with him because it could have been any one of us that Warren set up. Do you think Mr. Cavell was set up?
I plead the 5th.
And this is already
I say
statute of limitations way past on this. I think you're good.
I have no idea.
You have no idea of whether he's a good person?
You said, do you think he was set up? I said, I have no idea. I have no
Okay.
idea if he was set up.
Okay. So, do you remember Mr. Wilson at the sentencing hearing?
No,
You're friends on Facebook, though, right?
I don't know.
You don't know who you're Facebook friends with?
No. I mean, I know some of my friends, and
Not all.
not all.
Okay. So, this will be 25? Didn't mean to toss it at you.
It's okay. Didn't go off the table.
Here's some DMP I purchased for investigatory purposes here. And it bears the logo, even though I bought it from the fertilizer warehouse, it bears the logo of enhancedDMP.com. Do you have, at this point in time, which I'll submit was September of 2019, according to the first class mail postage in the parcel, were you involved at all with enhancedDMP.com?
I'm sorry, you said 2019.
Oh, 2017. Pardon me, it's September 19, 2017. Did you have any involvement with Enhanced DMP at this time?
I plead the fifth.
Did you have any involvement with the fertilizer warehouse at this time?
I plead the fifth.
Do you recognize that address, 1101 Fulton Avenue, Suite 201, Sacramento, California, 95815?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, let's look at the next exhibit. According to online records, that's used to be your law office. Do you remember having your law office as 1101 Fulton Avenue?
I plead the fifth.
Do you have any idea why you'd be selling DMP out of a law office?
I plead the fifth.
When did you ever stop using 1101 Fulton Avenue as your law address?
I plead the fifth.
That's your phone number there too, right? 916-486-1111.
I plead the fifth.
Here's another one I'd like to add to the record, but I only have one copy for some reason, so please, it has the same information as this. I'd just like both to be on the record.
Okay.
Please review it.
So
That
you
one not
want
being marked, or?
I'd like to have this included in that exhibit.
in 26?
Correct.
Okay.
It's
got it.
basically the same info, just a different source. Okay, so,
I'm gonna need that.
oh, God, thank you. This will be 27, correct?
27 is next door, yes.
Okay. All right, these are the incorporation documents for Enhanced Athlete, Inc. Did you have any role in incorporating Enhanced Athlete in Wyoming on March 6, 2017?
I plead the fifth.
This is about 6 months after Cavell got out of prison. What I'm curious about is obviously Enhanced Athlete was a going concern before then. Where was the money going to before this entity was created?
I plead the fifth.
Was it going to your personal bank account?
I plead the fifth.
So after you got out of jail, it appears from the documents I was able to obtain that he decided to take over operations and you began to travel more and things like that. Is that accurate?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Did you know that Cavell incorporated Enhanced Athlete, Inc. in March 2017?
Say that again?
Were you aware that Mr. Cavell incorporated Enhanced Athlete, Inc.?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Right around this same time, there was an amendment, which I'll mark as 28, to HC Pharmatech. Remember that company you started in 2003, right before you decided to go to law school? There was an amendment for the very first time, right when Enhanced Athlete, Inc. was formed, and that was on February 27th, 2017, and that took you off the rolls as president. Do you remember that?
I plead the fifth.
Did Mr. Cavell get your permission for that?
I plead the fifth.
Why was HC Pharmatech amended at this time? Why was HC Pharmatech amended at this time?
I plead the fifth.
to talk a little bit about your ongoing involvement with Enhanced Athlete,
Before we go there, would this be a good time to take a break?
if you'd like to.
I would appreciate
Fine with me.
We're now going off the record. The time is 10:52 a.m. We're now back on the record. The time is 11:03 a.m.
This will be Exhibit 29. These are the exhibits from our original motion to compel your deposition today. And you may remember that one of the issues there was your involvement with Enhanced Athlete. So I just want to go through these quickly. We could start with, oops, sorry about that. Things have a mind of their own. We'll start with Exhibit D.
Okay.
So that's the Enhanced Athlete mission statement, which you posted on Enhanced Athlete's Facebook account on June 4th, 2016. And it says, to bring honesty and openness to the world of health and fitness. Is that the Enhanced Athlete mission statement, part of it?
I plead the fifth.
Did you create the Enhanced Athlete mission statement?
I plead the fifth.
Looking at Exhibit E, this is a post from September 3rd, 2016, where you say, I'm a lawyer, not a doctor. Then you go on to say, you make a couple jokes and stuff. And then you say, be glad I'm not a medical doctor. The medical board would yank my license if I was doing these videos as a medical doctor. Why would they yank your license?
I plead the fifth.
And then the next paragraph starts with, the stage name Dr. Tony Hughes came from the circle of athletes and friends that relied on my scientific advice. Did you ever provide scientific advice to your circle of athletes and friends?
I plead the fifth.
Do you remember the first time someone called you Dr. Tony Hughes?
No.
Did you make it up?
You're asking if I made it up
If you
as
made up the
opposed to
name.
someone else making
Correct.
the name up?
Correct.
I did a. So, I plead the fifth.
So, do you remember when you started going by that moniker?
I plead the fifth.
You see here the name was fitting. Why is it fitting if you're not a doctor?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. It says here you built a firm of 22 employees at your bankruptcy firm. Is that correct?
I did have 22 employees, and I did have a bankruptcy law firm.
And how many offices?
One main office and maybe up to 5 satellite offices.
And how many lawyers in each office?
Lawyers would travel between the offices, home-based at the main office
And
for
where
the
was the-
convenience of the clients.
Where's the main office located?
1395 Garden Highway.
And at what time? The entire time?
No. Before that was West Sacramento. I think 1530 West Sacramento.
And 1101 Fulton?
I plead the fifth.
In the middle of this paragraph, it says, I didn't feel like repeating myself 1,000 times about DMP, so I just started making videos. Is that why you started making videos?
I plead the fifth.
It also says here that I'm totally transparent. Is that still true?
I plead the fifth.
Let's move on to Exhibit F. This is your personal Facebook page. That's the cover page. And it shows a bunch of folks at Mr. Olympia, correct?
I don't know if that's Mr. Olympia or not. It does show people.
And that's Scott Cavell on the left. Second from the left, second man from the left.
I plead the fifth.
You don't even want to identify him?
If I
It's
were
not a
to
crime to identify someone you know in a picture.
associate myself in, then
Well, I think
that's the.
I think that ship has sailed. That's you in the middle, though, right?
I plead the fifth.
Now, if it's not the Mr. Olympia, what else could it be? The LA Fitness Expo?
I plead the fifth.
Was there any other time where Enhanced Athlete was members of the Enhanced Athlete community or employees, contractors, what have you, were gathered in this multitude besides Mr. Olympia?
I plead the fifth.
All right. With Exhibit G, here's a personal post you made on your personal account. And it says April 30th. It says April 30th, 2017, which again is, it says last day in Columbia, set up distribution connections for Enhanced Athlete. Did you set up distribution connections in Colombia for Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
And it says now on to Madrid, Spain. Did you then go on to Madrid, Spain?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Let's move on to Exhibit H. Here's a, looks like an Instagram post where you say this video has become like a mission statement for Enhanced Athlete, and that's you posting on the Enhanced Athlete account. And it says, my staff watches it and finds motivation and inspiration. Did you have a staff at this time?
I plead the fifth.
All right, Exhibit I. This is another Instagram post, undated, and it says that I've been working your A****. I don't want to say it on the record, but we all know what that means. You've been working your butt off for you guys, creating so many new supplements, researching, growing, and most important, answering each one of your guys' questions. At this time, were you working hard for Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Did you answer anyone's questions with respect to Enhanced Athlete on your social media?
I plead the fifth.
It says, I've been behind on Facebook messages and personal emails. And did you respond to personal emails regarding Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Exhibit J. This is a photo of you winning. It looks like you won a fitness competition. Do you remember which that was?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. I mean, it's not a crime to win a fitness competition. You should be proud. I mean, it's you don't remember winning a fitness competition? I'm not sure that you won, but it looks like you won some kind of award, right?
I have won competitions.
And is this after such victory?
I plead the fifth.
You don't remember? Okay. I mean, I just don't see the connection to the criminal, whatever is happening criminally.
You're trying to tie me to Enhanced Athlete, and
Well, I mean,
you said
this
there's
is a photo.
criminal
I'm just asking you
investigation.
right now if you were in a fitness competition, period.
I said yes.
And is this a photo after you won that fitness competition?
I plead the fifth.
And do you remember at all what this fitness competition was?
I plead the fifth.
Exhibit K. Here is a post dated November 10th, 2016. Ryan Russo. Who's Ryan Russo?
I plead the fifth.
He's an affiliate marketer for Enhanced Athlete, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Why? Again, you can't plead the fifth for someone else. It's just like, do you know what? I'll phrase it a different way. Do you know what Ryan Russo does for some of his income?
I plead the fifth, but I'm not pleading the fifth for him. I'm pleading the fifth for myself because my association could be conspiracy.
If you say so. My weekend with Dr. Tony Hughes, CEO of Enhanced Athlete. Were you ever CEO of Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know why he would say something like that if you were not?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Exhibit L seems to be the same photo. This one's on Instagram, however. He says, calls you again the CEO of my sponsor, Enhanced Athlete. And I'll ask again, were you the CEO of Enhanced Athlete?
I plead the fifth.
Exhibit M. Here's a post from Bodybuilder in Thailand. Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
He's an affiliate marketer as well, isn't he?
I plead the fifth.
He writes a post about you and refers to a website called enhancedchemicals.com. Are you familiar with that site?
I plead the fifth.
It says Enhanced Athlete sells research chemicals such as SARMs like Ostarine, Ligandrol, and MK677, which act like steroids in your body but do not cause side effects. Have you ever read this post before?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Exhibit N. This is the Whois information for Enhanced Athlete.
This is the what?
Whois.
Okay,
It's
thank
two words, but they're together. It's a website called Whois. And who originally registered the Enhanced Athlete website?
I plead the fifth.
This indicates that the record was updated. Of course, the registrar is hidden, but it says that it was changed on August 16th, 2017. That was right around the time we served you with the complaint, wasn't it?
I just got served with a complaint today.
Enhanced Athlete, I mean.
I don't know.
You were not aware that Enhanced Athlete was part of this lawsuit until today?
I was aware Enhanced Athlete's part of this lawsuit.
Okay, and so were you aware that Enhanced Athlete changed the registrar from your brother's name to an anonymous registrar after the lawsuit was filed?
I plead the fifth.
Well, let's take a look at the Whois for the ICANN. That's the next exhibit, Exhibit O. And if you look at the registrant name, it's about 1/3 of the way down. It says Ryan Hughes. That's your brother, right?
My brother's name is Ryan Hughes.
Is he part of an organization called Project Awesomeness?
I plead the fifth.
Now, that address there, 1395 Garden Highway, Suite 150, that's the one you just told me about, Hughes Financial Law, isn't it?
Yes.
So why is Ryan Hughes registering EnhancedAthlete.com to your law office?
I plead the fifth.
And you see his email is ryan@choosehughes.com. What is choosehughes.com?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe one of his... You've never heard of the website before?
I've heard of it, I just don't know what it is.
You don't know what it does? You're not affiliated with that website?
No.
Is your brother affiliated with Enhanced Athlete?
I don't have any knowledge to indicate Ryan's in what did you say?
Involvement in Enhanced Athlete.
Involved in Enhanced Athlete.
What about registering the website?
I plead the fifth.
All right. All right, that's it for this exhibit. Let's move on to the next exhibit, which will be 30. All right. All right, have you ever seen this document before?
I just don't remember if I've seen it. It doesn't look familiar, but
It's dated,
I may have seen it.
It's recent. It's from April 23rd. It is the amended responses to special interrogatory. So I don't know if you remember from, I don't know how bankruptcy court works, but if it's anything like civil court, we ask for discovery and we get responses. And if there's deficiencies, then typically the responses will be amended. So these are the most recent responses that Enhanced Athlete has provided. And I'd like to go through some of these answers. Special Interrogatory 1 asks whether Special Interrogatory 1 asks to identify all persons who participated with you in the development of the creation of the illicit products. Now, the term "you" refers to Enhanced Athlete in this context. Enhanced Athlete's answer says that it developed its SARMS products. Enhanced Athlete Inc. developed its SARMS products without the assistance of third parties. Now, we know from the record that Enhanced Athlete Inc. was formed in March of 2007. And we also know that the SARMS products were being sold for well over a year before that. So this is not true, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Well, again, this is just asking about Enhanced Athlete's responses. This has nothing to do with you. So I'm just asking if this is correct. Enhanced Athlete as an entity has no Fifth Amendment right. It only attaches to individuals. So I fully recognize your right to plead the fifth with respect to any answer, but Enhanced Athlete as a company has no right. And these are their responses. So I'm just asking you if this is an accurate statement.
The company might not have the right, but I have the right, and if I'm associated with the company.
I'm not asking you if you're associated with the company. I'm asking if the statement that you see that Enhanced Athlete made is an accurate statement.
Me answering that question would imply that I have intimate knowledge of Enhanced Athlete's operation, creation, everything?
Not necessarily. I mean, I know it, and I had nothing to do with it. I just showed you 20 Instagram postings that show these products were sold before Enhanced Athlete was incorporated. So it's not like you need to be involved in the corporation to know the answer to this question is false. So I would ask you again whether or not this is a truthful answer based on your knowledge, based on the evidence presented today.
I plead the fifth.
All right, let's move on to interrogatory number 2. Identify all persons with whom you work to create advertisements or promotions for the illicit products. And here it says, if you look at the answer, the third parties that created or participated in created advertising for Enhanced Athlete are Anthony Hughes and Kevin Fulfer. Who's Kevin Fulfer?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know who he is?
I plead the fifth.
I mean, here your organization has already identified him so as someone who worked on the advertising, and you are the designee for advertising. So I don't think you can fifth out of this, but
I've never said on the record that I'm those things, and if
Well,
I did, then that would be waiving my Fifth Amendment.
the organization has already said this
I haven't.
under
though.
oath.
But I haven't.
So do you think that they are not telling the truth here? Is that what you're saying? Or you don't know?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Defendant is informed to believe that Hughes resides primarily in Thailand. Is that correct?
I consider Thailand to be my home base.
Do you have residency there?
No.
Are you seeking residency there, permanent residency?
No.
So you're more of like a, what's the word for it?
Visa. On a
Right.
visa.
But in terms of your lifestyle, you would be a nomad, itinerant. Are you familiar with those terms?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the definition exactly.
It doesn't matter. So it says also in this verified response under oath that Hughes uses all other social media, including Instagram, to promote Enhanced Athlete. That's true, right?
I plead the fifth.
And its products, among other products and companies that Hughes discusses and promotes on his social media platform. Do you promote any other companies on your platforms?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Next one is the response to Special Interrogatory 3 on page 6. And here it's Enhanced Athlete responds under oath. The question for Interrogatory 3 was, identify all persons involved in the production or manufacture of the illicit products. And it lists there in the second paragraph of the response, HC Pharmatech, Inc., a Nevada corporation. Now that's the very same corporation that used to be president of, correct?
I plead the fifth.
In the past, Chanton Zumwalt, whom defendant is informed currently incarcerated in Oregon in connection with DUI. Do you know who Chanton Zumwalt is?
No.
Okay. In the response to number 4, on page 7, it says, defendant is informed and believed it has sold approximately 83,588 bottles of SARM's products from March 2017 through March 21st, 2018. I don't expect you to know that by heart, but is that more or less accurate with your understanding?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Response to Special Interrogatory 6, which asked for the amount of gross revenue. The response Enhanced Athlete Inc. provided was that there was $2,300,000, and this is the bottom of page 8, $2,379,340 in gross revenue with respect to the sale of SARM's products from April 1st until the end of 2017. Is that more or less accurate with your understanding?
I plead the fifth.
All right, let's move on. Oh. All right, let's look at 11. person who has knowledge of any of the ingredients of the illicit products. Again, it says Chenton Zumwalt, and then it lists HC Pharmatech. And it lists the executive officer of HC Pharmatech, Jorge Aguilera. Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
You ever heard of that guy?
I plead the fifth.
So Enhanced Athlete Inc. is saying that Jorge Aguilera is providing has knowledge about the illicit products and the ingredients. Do you understand what his role might be at HC Pharmatech Inc.?
I plead the fifth.
Is that the manufacturing entity?
I plead the fifth.
You know, Jorge Aguilera is actually also the CEO of another company here. He's the CEO of Gilmore Engineering. And we'll mark this one as 31. Oops, I'll give you this one. You like the clips, right? Because it makes it easier for you later?
Just so they're not, all
Okay.
over the place. And I know which is for which, like we had that problem with the pictures on the
So Jorge Aguilera seems to be a busy man because he's also the CEO of a company called Gilmore Engineering. Have you ever heard of Gilmore Engineering?
I plead the fifth.
It says here, now Gilmore Engineering is named as a defendant because according to documents that we discovered, they are listed as the manufacturer of DMP, and so we named them in the lawsuit. Now Jorge Aguilera, who also works for HC Pharmatech, which you and Cavell were officers at one point, also runs Gilmore Engineering. It says here, Item 4, Gilmore Engineering does not manufacture or distribute DMP in any of its products. Do you know if that's true?
I plead the fifth.
We do not manufacture DMP at all. Do you know if that's true?
I plead the fifth.
All right, getting back to Exhibit 30, no, 20, right? Oh, wait, 30, sorry. Number 13. Identify each person working for on behalf of you who's ever had any involvement in drafting, creating, or developing any product description. And it lists only Scott Cavell. See that?
I see it.
But I showed you labels from before when Scott Cavell was still in prison. So he clearly didn't work on those, right?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know who worked on the labels prior to Scott Cavell?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know if someone else did?
I plead the fifth.
All right. This will be 32. I only have the 2 copies. Can I use that one? Okay, so this is an image of SARMs being sold at Mr. Olympia in 2017, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Do you remember Enhanced Athlete having a booth at Mr. Olympia in 2017?
I plead the fifth.
Were you at Mr. Olympia in 2017?
I plead the fifth.
Was Scott Cavell at Mr. Olympia in 2017?
I plead the fifth.
Let's look at the next page. Is that Mr. Cavell?
I plead the fifth.
Now, he was supposed to get permission from his parole officer to go to Las Vegas, wasn't he?
I don't.
You're aware that he was under supervised release, correct?
Yes.
And so, at no point did he get permission from the court to leave Sacramento, or strike that. One of the conditions of his supervised release is that he may not leave the county in which Sacramento is situated. Are you aware of that?
No.
He's required to obtain permission from his parole officer, and according to the record, he did not. Were you ever keeping tabs on him with whether or not he was following his supervised release?
I plead the fifth.
Next one we've already seen. The next one is this is the Bates number ND26 at the lower right-hand side. Oral pre-workout steroid that you were promoting, again with medical charts and things like that, showing low liver toxicity. Do you remember doing this?
I plead the fifth.
Do you ever offer an oral pre-workout steroid?
I plead the
Is
fifth.
it common to have steroids as a pre-workout?
Yes.
How common?
Amongst most athletes and competitors.
Most athletes consume steroids before they work out. Is that your statement?
Yes.
So, like, Michael Jordan would take steroids before shooting some free
Professional
throws?
athletes.
You
No.
mean professional bodybuilders?
Yes.
Okay.
Performance
not athletes
sports.
in general, right?
One
No.
at a time, please. Let
Okay.
him finish his answer, and then
Yes,
you can respond.
I apologize.
Performance sports, not strategic sports.
So, would you consider tennis to be a performance sport?
No.
You consider it a strategic sport?
Yes.
Let me do this the other way. What would you consider a performance sport?
Sports that take strength, mostly strength and speed.
So
and
football.
Visual. Yes.
So, most football players consume steroids before they work out.
I don't know.
Well, that's what you just said, is all. That's why I'm just trying to pin you down on, like, what exactly you mean by that.
Yeah.
I mean, you think it's really common for people, for professional athletes to consume steroids before they work out?
Yes.
What do you base that on? Just enhanced athlete sales?
No, just communicating with them.
Just talking to people here and
Yes.
there?
Yeah.
But there's, like, no other basis besides that, just you talking to people?
I don't know another basis, but yes, there's other basis. I just can't think of anything other than my personal conversations.
Okay. Do you know what USADA is? Stands for U.S. Anti-Doping Association.
Yes.
Do you know that many of the products sold by Enhanced Athlete are banned by USADA?
I plead the fifth.
Let's look at the last picture. That's Scott Cavell, isn't it? I'm Mr. Olympia.
I plead the fifth.
All right. Let's move on to the next one, which would be 33. Got it. Here's a post on your Facebook from November of 2017. And if you look, it says Dr. Tony Hughes, and at the bottom there, under your name, Dr. Tony Hughes, it says that you're a visionary. Do you consider yourself a visionary?
I plead the fifth.
Let's go to Exhibit 34.
And then also, I need back
Ooh.
32.
Gotcha. This would be 34. So these,
For just a moment.
sure. No, it's we can do this on the record. My thought was just to finish what's on the tape, which there's 11 minutes left, and we can break for lunch.
Okay.
You guys okay with that?
I had something else.
Oh, okay.
I'll hold it.
You wanna, okay, thank you. Oh, 7 minutes left. All right, well, just get through the rest of these. So this is a post from your Enhanced Athletes Instagram, dated September 2016. And the post says, freedom requires truthful facts upon which to make an independent decision. Do you believe that to be true?
Yes.
And do you think truthful facts are important for plaintiff to prosecute its claims in this case?
Yes.
The next page is October 1st, 2016. It says, we're working on many projects, including publications, books, and videos. Truth is the only way to freedom. And like the Matrix, join us and break through the lies that the government, FDA, haters, and enemies of freedom perpetuate. Do you believe that there is a conspiracy against you?
Yes.
And who's part of the conspiracy?
Censorship. Anybody who doesn't want the information I present to be put out there.
And that would include the FDA?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think that, who else is part of this conspiracy? Just people who don't want someone who's not a doctor giving medical advice? Like those types of people?
I plead the fifth.
So you have no idea who's part of this conspiracy against you?
I plead the fifth.
Who are haters?
Definition of haters are people that do not like you.
For any reason? Like personally don't like you?
I suppose in the broadest sense.
What about like a police officer who catches you jaywalking or something? Are they a hater? No, they're just
No.
doing their job, right? Right?
Right.
Okay. Now, is this part of your vision? You said earlier you're a visionary. Is this part of your vision?
What?
Like just, extolling freedom and inferring that there's a conspiracy against you?
I plead the fifth.
Is part of your vision to have injections? Inject yourself online on your Snapchat with illegal drugs. This will be the next exhibit. Is that part of your vision?
To inject myself with illegal drugs on camera, I plead the fifth.
Okay. Is it part of your vision to hang out with beautiful girls in Ferraris? Is that part of your selling point? Is that part of your vision?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, wait, so this is,
This will all be one.
okay, this is all one.
This will all be one. This one's separate. So that brings me to what number?
This one is 35. And then all these are 36 then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. Are these two the same?
Those are different. Oh yeah, these are the same. Yeah. Is that your? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on, I'm not ready yet. So I think this is past two. Do you care which one's on top?
Nope. Do you drive a Ferrari?
Yes.
Do you use that to promote the use of SARMs?
I plead the fifth.
Why do you include images of your personal vehicle when you promote products for Enhanced Athlete? Is that part of one of the selling points?
I plead the fifth.
So you call yourself a doctor, you have a Ferrari. Do you think that generates a following? 2 minutes? Do you think that generates a following?
Do I think it would? Do I think a Ferrari and calling myself a doctor generates a following? Where?
Do you think young people might be attracted to the image of a successful guy in a Ferrari, might listen to what he says, especially if he calls himself a doctor?
I think young people are more likely to listen to someone with a Ferrari than without a Ferrari.
Right. So let's move on to this exhibit. This is taken from your message board. Here's an example of teenagers who are consuming your drugs that you're selling. First one says, 16-year-old SARM cycle. Hello, I've decided to do a cycle on SARMs to gain mass and strength. However, I'd like to keep the more athletic look. The next one says, teenage SARMs, posted by someone named Maru. It says, in 3 weeks, I'm going to start my first SARM cycle. I'm 15. I train regularly. Do you bear any responsibility for this? Do you think that this is your fault?
Did you write these?
No.
Okay.
Why would I write these?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, do you think that teenagers using this is a consequence of how you market your products?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Time. Let's go lunch.
We're now off the record. The time is 11:43 a.m. We are now back on the record. The time is 12:39 p.m.
What exhibit we're on now?
38 is the next
This is
one.
38, okay. 38 will be the complaint. Yeah, 38 will be the complaint filed in this action. All right. So let me take copies of it.
Counsel?
Yes.
I may be mistaken, but isn't there an amended complaint here?
It hasn't been,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
it has not been,
Okay, thanks.
adopted yet.
Appreciate it.
This is the operative complaint, but there have been subsequent proposed amendments. But I'm mostly just setting forth the timeline with respect to when you found out about this when you found out about this lawsuit, Mr. Hughes. As you can see, the first complaint is dated July 1st, 2017. Had you heard that Nutrition Distribution had a dispute with Enhanced Athlete before this time?
I plead the fifth.
Well, I'm referring only to a cease and desist letter that was sent before we filed the complaint.
I plead the fifth.
So I'm just, whether you received our letter, it was a civil action. Yeah.
Do you have the letter?
I don't have, no, I mean, I can get it, but
Okay, I plead the fifth.
when did you find out about that we filed this complaint?
It was before today, and it was, I have no idea whether it was a year ago or 6 months ago, July 17, 2007. Seems like it's been about a year, but I really don't remember.
And who told you about it?
I don't remember if it was Scott or if, yeah, I don't remember for sure.
Well, pretty soon after it was filed, like a month or two, right?
It seems like it was filed about a year ago, and it seems like it's been about a year, but I don't know.
All right, this will be Exhibit 39. Here's an article where you are quoted from the Sacramento Business Journal. And this article is dated September 19th, 2017, so about 9 months ago. And if you look at the bottom part of the page, about 7 lines up, you say, Hughes told the Business Journal that he had not seen the message posted on Enhanced Athlete's website, but stated that Towler was putting himself in jeopardy by pursuing the case. You're referring to me, right?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know why you would tell the Business Journal that I'm putting myself in jeopardy by prosecuting this case?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think it's a crime that you would do that?
Does it sound like a threat?
You think that's a crime?
If that's what you're going to imply, that, or that was what
I'm
it
asking
could be
you. I
implied,
can do
then
all
it
the
could be
implications
It
almost.
could be a crime.
And what would make it a crime or not, in your mind?
I don't know.
The next sentence says, there's a freaking army of people out there who take this is you being quoted by the Sacramento Business Journal. There's a freaking army of people out there who take supplements sold by Enhanced Athlete, Hughes said. I'd be surprised if he makes it out alive, and that's referring to me, isn't it?
I plead the fifth.
Why do you think I'd be killed as a result of prosecuting this action on behalf of my client?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think that's a criminal act?
It may be.
I agree. You added that you plan to travel to Los Angeles, where Towler is based, in the coming days to confront Towler and in person and express your feelings on freedom. But you never flew to Los Angeles to confront me in the days after September 19th, 2017, did you?
Correct.
And you never confronted me, did you?
Correct.
And you never expressed your feelings on freedom, did you? To me.
I have not spoken with you that I know of.
And it said, the very next sentence says, I could see how someone would call it reckless, but you would call it justified. Why would it be justified, Mr. Hughes?
I plead the fifth.
Right around this time, actually right before this article, Enhanced Athlete was what I consider its apex. You took a full-page ad in Flex magazine, and I'll mark that as Exhibit 40.
Are you done with review?
Oh, yeah. So, do you remember taking this ad out in Flex magazine?
I plead the fifth.
Have you ever known Enhanced Athlete to advertise in Flex magazine?
I plead the fifth.
You know how much it costs to advertise in Flex magazine, a 2-page ad?
No.
You see on the right side when it says what we stand for, and it says truth, transparency, and clarity. You see that?
Yes.
Do you feel like you've been truthful and clear today? And transparent?
I wish I could be more. I wish I could give you more information if there wasn't a pending criminal investigation. So because of that, I cannot give you as much information as I would like.
Is that your signature on this?
I plead the fifth.
Lower left-hand corner?
I plead the fifth.
Can you sign this here, Dr. Hughes?
I plead the fifth.
The Fifth Amendment only protects testimony, not signatures.
I have to ask my criminal defense counsel if
You're welcome to
if
counsel.
that's true, because you made a legal conclusion about criminal defense. Okay, I plead the fifth.
I've got the case site for you.
This is case about like a criminal case law about signing a document versus providing testimony. That's it?
Correct.
Okay.
So the case site is Gilbert v. California. The citation is 388 U.S. 263. You can review this if you'd like.
I see that it says it may nevertheless be compelled to furnish handwriting. I see that it could be an issue that you could win on a law motion, and ultimately he could be forced to do this handwriting. But in my opinion, this would be considered testimony, and I'll still, same objection.
You'll instruct him not to answer even though I've presented you with a case cite directly on point?
Well, I see that it says in the context of investigations alone, appellate courts have held that those asserting a Fifth Amendment privilege may nevertheless be compelled.
All right.
Like I said, I mean, the Fifth Amendment objection stands. If we go into court and the judge says it doesn't apply in this context, he's got to answer the
Well,
question.
the judge already has. That's what gave you the citation.
No, the judge hasn't in this case.
Well, I don't see what the difference is. I got it right in front of me. What's going to happen is, if I can move to compel on this and I win, he's going to have to come back, which I don't think he wants to do, right? You want to come back here again, do you?
Well, I assume you're making a motion anyways. I assume I'm going to have to come
not
back.
necessarily. I mean, this is one reason I would definitely make a motion. I'm not sure what other reason I would have to make a motion. Certainly there's some other issues that may come up or something, but this 100% I'm entitled to. And you're just telling me
I mean, the
can't have
question
it.
here would be whether or not it's testimonial. I don't think you're 100% entitled. I think you may be. I think it's an argument for a judge to decide. And if we have to come back and he's compelled ultimately, then so be it.
That's the risk you're willing to take.
That's the risk he's willing to take.
Well, I mean, that's ultimately his decision, yeah. So it's up to you.
I'll just, I mean, how about I'll talk off the record so I don't hold us up, and then I can.
Well, why don't we just discuss it on the next break? Because I don't want to hold it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean
okay.
later.
So we'll just put a pin in that.
Yeah. What's that site again? 388, right? My handwriting's
388 US 263.
Can only get worse.
Yeah.
There are a few other sites here if you want to just copy it. Okay, so getting back to the Exhibit 40, is that your signature in the lower left-hand corner?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, so right around this time, there was also some problems with Enhanced Athlete Europe. And it says here, so this is,
Are you marking this?
yes ma'am, that'll be 41. Sorry about that.
And then can you also get 38 back?
Yes. Yes, you can. Okay, so right around this time, the wheels start falling off, and it's September 2017, and apparently Enhanced Europe was raided, correct? Around this time?
Okay, I see the date and the assertion that Enhanced Athlete EU was visited by the regulatory authorities.
Did you author this?
I plead the fifth.
It says here, your signature at the bottom. Stay swell and swole, my friends of freedom, comma, Tony Hughes. Is that a forgery?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. So let's take a look at what went down on September 10th. Enhanced Athlete Europe was visited by the regulatory authorities last week. Inventories, machines, computers were taken until investigations concluded. And as a result, there will be a temporary closure of 2 months. And here you say that this is the result of label claims or something like that. They froze the EU Merchant Services account. This is now paragraph 3. This means we can't give you a refund. And then you go on to say, assuming this is you, of course, that they can get, they provide you this. Whoever drafted this email provides a list of Enhanced Athlete websites. The first one being enhancedathlete.com. The second one being the fertilizerwarehouse.com for DNP. The third being enhancedchemicals.com. And the fourth being enhancedrx.com. So then it says you can still buy SARMs using the United States website. You see that on the second page, on the third page? Did you have any idea this was going on?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. So not long after this November 10th email was when a harassment campaign was initiated against my law firm and myself. And we'll mark this as Exhibit 42. So this is dated September 17th, and it says, Enhanced Athletes' existence is in peril. Greetings, fellow friends and pioneers of human evolution. I'm sure some of you are wondering why we have removed SARMs from public view. So at this time, were SARMs removed from public view of the Enhanced Athlete website?
I plead the fifth.
By this time, you must have been apprised of the lawsuit because this dispatch is solely about me. Correct?
As of September 2017, I think that I was aware of this lawsuit.
Okay. Some of you might already be aware of Towler and Smith, the capital L law firm that failed to win its case against Iron Mag Labs last year. That's not true, is it? We won that appeal, right?
Don't
You
follow
don't know?
the case.
You don't follow the law? Well, they are at it again this time. They picked a fight with the wrong guys. Here is a quick background. Robert Towler, that's me, a Harvard grad Reed 1%er, has decided that the FDA is not doing their job well enough. Did you write this?
I plead the fifth.
And it goes on to list it just goes on to talk a bunch of smack, really, and has a lot of really kind of childish tactics to try to harass me and impede my personal business. For example, some were more effective than others. I mean, the fax machine, obviously no one uses a fax machine really anymore, but it asks to send 500 pages of black paper to my fax machine so that I'll burn through toner. And then it says people should basically crank call and harass me. And the objective of this is to create leverage in this lawsuit.
Is that a question?
If you let me finish, I'll put it in the form of a question.
All right.
All right? The purpose of this was to create leverage in this action. Were you a part of this strategic thinking at this time, Mr. Hughes?
I plead the fifth.
And then it goes on to say we should create a DDoS attack on the Towler Smith website and send harassing emails. And then it goes farther to say that fans, quote unquote, should show up to my office and make it clear what they thought about the attorney attempting to threaten the freedom of choice. Nails and other debris should be put in my parking lot, and homeless people should be paid to go to my office to make it an unpleasant place. Are these your ideas?
I plead the fifth.
Is this part of your vision?
I plead the fifth.
All right. This is definitely you. This is from your Snapchat. This is Exhibit J. Oh, pardon me. Exhibit J on the paper. This is 43, I believe. So this is from your Snapchat. You published this. Someone writes right around this time that, my guess is probably Mr. Cavell mostly did this stuff, really generated a buzz among your followers. And again, this comes at a time where Enhanced Athlete had a ton of followers. And, there was this huge, attack against me. And then your lawyer at the time, Lieutenant Tucker, basically said to cool it or something. And so you kind of try to dial it back a bit. And this, I believe, is your attempt to dial it back by publishing a threat of violence, physical threat of violence against me. And here's what the person wrote to you. I saw the Enhanced Athlete lawsuit info. I have a lot of connections in Orange County that Nazi Towler just signed his own fate when he attacked our freedom. The fact he underestimates the power of our community, the ability to fuck up his life, just shows up what an idiot he is. So don't worry, my friend. If karma doesn't get him soon, we will. And you don't have to know anything about it. And your response to that, Mr. Hughes? Don't do anything stupid, which I commend that sentence. The rest of the part I got a problem with. EA lawyers are going to kick his ass so hard. Well, that didn't happen, right? I mean, those lawyers are long gone, right?
The case isn't over yet.
But your lawyers quit, right?
My lawyers? I am
Enhanced
not
Athletes
appearing in
lawyers
this case.
quit, right?
They substituted out
Yeah, why'd they sub out?
in favor of Rich.
Do you know what? Do you know why they wanted out?
That's, I don't know. Do I have to ask?
I don't think it's germane. I don't think it's material.
It's not a proper objection. Why did they sub out?
If he knows.
Why did Rutan and Tucker sub out? Because they were very expensive.
That would be a reason for them to stay in. That's a reason Enhanced Athlete, you're saying, replace them with someone less expensive. Correct?
Because they subbed out and for someone less expensive. Yes.
I'm asking you the question, yeah.
Yes.
So at this point, you're making decisions on behalf of Enhanced Athlete and what counsel they have?
I plead the fifth.
Well, wait a minute. You're allowed to have a lawyer. There's no Fifth Amendment right to not disclosing who the lawyer is. I know who your lawyer is. I know who your former lawyer is. It's not a secret.
What's the question?
The question is, you just told me the reason why Rutan and Tucker subbed out, and I'm asking how you know that.
Conversation with Rutan and Tucker.
And you've been having conversations with Rutan and Tucker the entire time, correct?
Yes.
Why are you having these conversations if you're not affiliated with the company?
I plead the fifth.
I'm just talking about, anyone is allowed to have counsel, so I'm just talking about why you're having conversations on behalf of Enhanced Athlete with Rutan and Tucker, as you've just admitted.
And I'm not asserting, I'm not saying I'm asserting attorney-client privilege. I'm asserting the Fifth Amendment privilege.
So are you saying
because you're exactly asking, you're trying to tie me into Enhanced Athlete.
Well, you already just did. I'm just following up. I'm doing a follow-up question.
I said my awareness of why Rutan and Tucker subbed out.
Right. Was from talking to them. That's what you said.
Yes.
Right. So you said you were talking to them throughout.
That doesn't connect me to Enhanced Athlete. That connects
Correct.
me to Rutan and Tucker.
Correct. Were they involved in any criminal conduct that you're aware?
Is Rutan and Tucker involved in criminal conduct? I don't know. Not that I know of.
And it says a whole bunch of his enemies, referring to me, have called to support, so I can get Tyler disbarred within 6 months if I want. But that's not true, is it?
I plead the fifth.
You're representing to a third party who's threatened to kill me, that not to kill me, basically, because my enemies, quote unquote, have called you personally, and that based on that information, you can get me disbarred within 6 months. Is any of that true?
I plead the fifth.
What's illegal about getting me disbarred? There's no crime here. I'm not tying you to EA.
You're tying me to communications made on what you're saying behalf of Enhanced Athlete.
These are your own words. You can't just close Pandora's box. You've used your own words as offense in this case. You can't back down now and hide behind the Fifth Amendment now that you've tried to use it as a weapon. These are your own words, and I'm entitled to know everything about what you have said. The Fifth Amendment is a protection against government intrusion. It is not protection against civil offensive behavior.
I'm not admitting that I wrote this.
Who else would write it? It's your own Snapchat. Are you kidding me?
I plead the fifth.
Does anyone else control your Snapchat?
I plead the fifth.
And then it says, I'm trying to have threesomes with ladies' boys in Thailand. Are you saying it's not you? Just some other guy who randomly does that. I mean, this is a pretty explicit description of you. So you're saying this may have been someone else?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. So this snap was around September, and things continue to go poorly for Enhanced Athlete in terms of its marketing apparatus and its entire process, really. And so that was September. Now we're moving on to November. Oh, and this is attorney's eyes only. The next exhibit will be Exhibit 45. Okay, so this one is dated December 9th, 2017, and this is, starting with the second paragraph, indicates that Enhanced Athlete United States was raided by the FDA on December 6th. When were you made aware of this raid?
I plead the fifth.
And it says here that they confiscated, in the again, third line of the second paragraph, they confiscated ostarine, DNP, and other research chemicals. Do you see that?
Yes.
So at this point, whoever was privy to this information would know that the sale of ostarine, DNP, and whatever research chemicals were subject to an arrest warrant, correct?
Yes.
And were ipso facto illegal to sell, correct?
I don't. Let me think how to answer that. So, if I can answer it without pleading the fifth. I plead the fifth.
All right. The good news is that we always knew that the FDA would one day pay a visit to our office. Why did you know that the FDA would always pay a visit to your office?
I plead the fifth.
The FDA found and confiscated all reserves of ostemuscle. So by this time you knew that there was a legal problem with ostemuscle, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Then it says the good news is, again, it says that the FDA approved our facility. Is that true?
I plead the fifth.
It says all past, present, and future orders will continue to be shipped unaffected. Do you know if that's true?
I plead the fifth.
And it says here, our attorneys are encouraging us to reconsider our decision to continue business as usual, but that you respectfully declined your attorney's advice. Do you remember reading this press release?
I do not remember reading this press release.
Did you receive this advice to stop selling arms, and was it ultimately disregarded?
If I would have received that advice, it would have been attorney-client privilege.
So it says here, enhanced last sentence now, we have almost 30 employees. Is that true?
I plead the fifth.
On what grounds? Like, just that you don't, you're saying you had no idea, like, what going on at all with Enhanced Athlete? Is that the theory?
If I have familiarity with the internal workings of Enhanced Athlete, then that's part of the conspiracy.
So that would cinch it for the government.
It would what?
That would cinch it for the government? If you knew how many
cinch it.
employees there were?
No, it
at
wouldn't.
this company
It
they're
wouldn't
promoting?
cinch it. It's one of the many pieces of evidence that they would use to as one of the elements.
All right, let's go on to 46. Oh, no, wait. Pardon me. Let's go back to this one. I forget the number. It was the Cavell Declaration that your former lawyers drafted. I forget what number it was, but I think we can get by with just referencing the actual document. Now, this happened on February 1st, 2018, about 2 months after the raid. Now, at this time, your lawyers must have known that there was a search warrant executed for SARMs, right? I'm just asking common sense-wise,
Logically,
yeah.
common sense, yes.
Yet, if you look here, this is basically a 5-page confession for Scott Cavell, admitting that he sold SARMs. Did you ever review this before this was filed with the court?
I've read some things. I don't know if I've read this exact document. I've read something similar to this at the very least. And whether I reviewed it before it filed with the court or after, I don't recall.
Well, the reason I ask is because it's highly peculiar for a law firm to basically write a criminal confession for one of the people they're representing. And my question to you is, like, when or if are you suing Rutan and Tucker for malpractice? Do you have any plans to do that?
No.
Because literally 3 days later is when the warrant went out for Mr. Cavell's arrest, after this was filed with the court. And here's the petition that his parole officer put together. And I'll make this 47.
So I'm gonna need, if you're referencing a previous one, then I'm gonna need,
They did. I think they're bringing some documents to us.
you referenced the Cavell, just that one.
Yeah, you want the number on that one?
Well, but you marked it as 45, or
Oh, so
46, if
this should be 46?
This should be 46.
Got it. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
All right. Exhibit 46 is Mr. Cavell's petition for. Oh yeah. All right, number 46 is a petition for warrant or summons for offender under supervision. Oh, let me get you. Do you guys got one? You notice date supervision commenced is the same date presented earlier when Mr. Cavell was released from prison. That's July 22nd, 2016.
July 22nd, 2016 is the date he was released from prison.
Correct. And let's take, it goes on and on about his violations of his supervised release, and, we don't have to go through this whole thing, but I'd like to discuss charge 5, which is unlawful use of a controlled substance. So, third paragraph on page 3. Officers ran the vehicle information, discovered that the vehicle had been re-registered to Jorge Aguilera on April 8th, 2017. Aguilera is an employee of Cavell's. So the same fella, Aguilera, who's supposed to be the CEO of Fertilizer Warehouse and also the CEO of HC Pharma, turns out all along, according to the government, to be an employee of Mr. Cavell's. Is that your understanding?
I plead the fifth.
It says here Cavell's roommate stated the vehicle belonged to Cavell. So it looks like Mr. Aguilera's a patsy, right? I mean, that's what it seems like to me. Would you agree with that statement?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Last paragraph. Most recently, observations by federal law enforcement officers indicate Cavell has continued to engage in manufacturing and distributing unapproved drugs, dietary supplement, and controlled supplements / steroids for human consumption. However, instead of doing this at his place of employment, which was closed by the city of Sacramento as a result of the search on December 6th, he appears to now be running this out of his residence. So that original press release said that they got the green light from the city, but according to this document, he just was running Enhanced Athlete from his house. Which one is accurate?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Let's take a look at the top sentence of page 4. The undersigned considered issuing a summons while the case remained under investigation, inferring, I believe, to the criminal investigation of Enhanced Athlete. However, it appears Cavell has breached the court's trust in an egregious way, and he has continued to place the community at risk. What do you think they're talking about here?
Well, they listed they say in an egregious way, and then they listed 5 charges. So
Right.
I'm
And
sure they're
you
referring
know what
to
they
the
say?
5 charges.
You know what those charges are? Manufacturing and distributing drugs, dietary supplements, and controlled substances, steroids for human consumption.
Okay, that's what
So-
the document says.
Correct. And as of February 6th, 2018, you were aware not only that these materials were raided by the European authorities, that they were considered illegal by the FDA based on the arrest warrant on December 6th, but also confirmed the government's position here on February 6th, 2018, that selling these drugs is illegal. Correct?
I'm not admitting I was aware of this document or of the timing. I'm pleading the fifth.
Okay, so 47 will be the declaration of Ronald Peters, which is Cavell's criminal attorney. And if you didn't know then, you should know now, because, here in this document, I'm sorry to do that so quickly, man. In this document, I think Mr. Peters makes it unambiguous by March 22nd that there is an active criminal investigation with respect to Mr. Cavell, with respect to Enhanced Athlete, specifically regarding the sale of SARMs. That's paragraph 4. Clear as day. My question to you is, this will be the next exhibit.
Is this exhibit 48 or is
That
this
is
something
40.
else?
That should be 47.
Oh.
Okay, this is 48. Oh no, wait. Where is it?
Oh, it's exhibit 240.
No, that, the petition is 46.
Oh.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been marked, that one right there.
It's an old exhibit.
Yeah.
Should be one that says end of SARMS. Why don't we take a break now?
Okay.
We're now off the record. The time is 1:24 p.m. We are now back on the record. The time is 1:39 p.m.
So when we left off, we were talking about some of the history in 2018, and we had talked about, well, previously we had talked about the raid that was December 6, 2017. Then we talked about the declaration that Mr. Cavell did with the assistance of counsel on February 1st, his arrest 3 days later, and then the declaration from his criminal attorney, Mr. Peters, indicating that he's under investigation personally for the sale of SARMs. And this is dated March 22nd. My question to you is, why, after this date, in April of this year, this will be 48? Yeah, 48. Why, in April of this year, are you promoting the sale of SARMs?
I plead the fifth.
It's this screenshot is from April, I believe it was around the 20th, promoting a last chance SARM sale for enhancedathlete.com. Enhanced Athlete was trying to sell off the remainder of its inventory of SARMs at this point, correct?
It says that it's a blowout sale. The time for full discontinuation of SARMs is here. So that's what that's what the document says.
Just hand me the whole stack, whatever Valerie brought in. Oh, there it is. But Enhanced Athlete, so you're promoting the sale of SARMs even after the arrest warrant, the admission from Cavell's criminal lawyer that Enhanced Athlete is under investigation for the sale of SARMs. You are still promoting the sale of SARMs after that date, correct?
I plead the fifth.
And it says the discontinuation of SARMs, it says here, you have 3 full days to stock up on SARMs during the biggest sale we've ever ran. So instead of discontinuing them immediately when you realized that they were illegal to sell, you ran a sale, correct?
I plead the fifth.
And Enhanced Athlete didn't even get out of the SARMs game at that point, did it?
I plead the fifth.
Exhibit 50, 49. Screenshots related to a website called AndroSARMs. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Those two.
All of it, yeah. Are you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Are you familiar with androsarms.com?
I plead the fifth.
And these products, even though they're labeled Androsarms, are the exact same trade dress and indeed share the same trade name of the product Ostemuscle, correct?
I plead the fifth.
Are you familiar with a company called BHG Fit?
I plead the fifth.
Let's look at page 3 of Exhibit 49. And it says here, it's by someone named E.A. Dan. Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
Well, he's got a picture of you in his icon. And it says, "Hi guys, a lot of you have seen EA is about to discontinue Osterine. For all of you who still need more, www.androsarms.com. SARMs manufactured by the same company that brought you Enhanced Athlete." Do you know what company that is?
I plead the fifth.
And it says it'll open up Friday the 20th of April, and that's the same time that Enhanced Athlete was ostensibly discontinuing its sale of SARMs, correct?
Just looking at your document on Exhibit 48, it says ends 4/22, and Exhibit 49 says opening 20th of April.
So there's a 2-day overlap.
That's what the documents say.
Correct. So the next page, which is page 4 of that exhibit, with the Bates number ND49, the lower right-hand corner, it says, "EA out of the SARMs business." It's a post titled from MBJ 470. It says, "Bad news, EA is out of the SARMs business, sucks." And then someone named Atlas TS says, "EA as website is, and probably as company, but Androsarms is their phoenix." And it says androsarms.com. Are you familiar with Atlas TS? Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Page 59, a few pages over is Bates number ND59, and that's another promotional advertisement that's been created saying, "Opens Friday 20th of April as a promotion for androsarms.com," and again says, "Manufactured by the same company that brought you Enhanced Athlete." And then the remaining screenshots are from the Enhanced Athlete Facebook page called Enhanced Athlete Pioneers, of which you're a member, correct?
I plead the fifth.
And here, some of the affiliate marketers promote Androsarms, saying it's the same manufacturer as EA. Did you direct these people to make these statements?
I plead the fifth.
This will be 50. This is all around the same time as well, slightly preceding this. There's a post by someone named Banhammer. Do you know who that is?
I plead the fifth.
And it says, "BHGFit.com is an authorized EA reseller, legit EA products, not sure about restocking the EU store, though." And then below that, there's someone named Kazim.Mujtaba who says, "Check out website Androsarms, same products with the same Androsarms instead of Enhanced Athlete." Do you know who that poster is?
I plead the fifth.
The very next page, Bates label ND27, bears a question from a user named Mo saying, "Where can I get SARMs now?" And a poster named Quest for Knowledge says, "Sue has anything stocked up over at bhgfits.com. Do you know who Quest for Knowledge is?
I plead the fifth.
Do you know who Sue is?
I plead the fifth.
Is that Steve Cavell's mom?
What was that?
Scott Cavell's mom.
Okay.
Scott Cavell's name is not. What'd you say, Sue?
Susan.
Susan, no.
What is Scott Cavell's mom's name?
Judy.
Judy. Do you know who E.A. Sue is?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Are you familiar with the website Scott Supplements?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. This is another affiliated website that sells enhanced athlete products. I don't think I need to go into all these in detail. We'll see if we get into it later. So after the raid, there was a raid on December 6th that we talked about on Enhanced Athlete in Sacramento. And then on December 22nd, 2017, your YouTube channel got shut down, correct? And a lot of people suspected it was me that had a hand in this for some reason. Was that your perception at the time?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, so are we at 50 then?
51.
All right, 51. This will be 51. Oh, this one's for you. Yeah. So this is a post on the upper left-hand corner one is on Facebook, and the other one on the page is from Instagram, and they're both on or around December 29th, 2017. And it says, "Attention freedom fighters, now's the time to band together to fight against ignorance and bleed for the truth. We're coming out with a private server where there will be no censorship, as well as loading 1015s a day to the Dr. Tony Hughes channel." Did you have a separate channel at this time?
I plead the fifth.
What do you mean by freedom fighters?
I plead the fifth.
Why are you wearing a hoodie in this Instagram?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. And the very next one is from your Snapchat right around the same time. Same picture. It says, "Freedom only exists when you have knowledge to make your own decisions." Do you feel that you provide knowledge so that individuals can make their own decisions?
I plead the fifth.
A large part of your marketing apparatus is based on, quite frankly, you yourself and your popularity and your ability to generate support from your followers. And part of that is not only your charisma, but certain attributes that you ascribe to yourself. For example, we already talked about referring to yourself as a doctor, but there's certain other components that generate your persona. And the first of which I'd like to talk about is the fact that you often refer to yourself as a millionaire, and this will be Exhibit 52. So this is a post from Never Get Busted, a website, from January 18th of 2018. It says, it's a YouTube video, and the title of the video is "Millionaire Lawyer Visits Drug Expert Barrett Cooper, Learn the Powers of Ibogaine." And it says here that you're a millionaire lawyer. Are you a millionaire lawyer?
I plead the fifth.
Did you become wealthy as a result of your bankruptcy law practice?
I plead the fifth.
I mean, this is referring to, when did you stop practicing law?
It depends on how you define practicing law. I mean, I downsized over time. So I still guess I have to deal with something every once in a while. But I stopped making it a full-time job when I started traveling, I suppose. But I don't.
You sold your practice at some point?
Yes.
Do you know when that was?
There was two steps to it, and one happened maybe, I don't remember. It might have been 3 years ago. It was the main step. Maybe a couple years ago, the actual transaction.
Okay, so the transfer was in 2015, more or less, when you got a little bit more into the supplement game and promoting, doing that full time.
Well, I plead the fifth as to that, but 2015 sounds. It's really hard to tell.
You don't remember?
I don't know the date, but it's
Right around there. Okay. Other than having a bankruptcy firm, so from the years, let's just call it ballpark it at 2015, you became a member of the bar at 2017. Were you a bankruptcy lawyer exclusively during that time frame?
I passed the bar in 2007, and I had a general practice before, specializing in bankruptcy.
And so from 2007 until 20, so break that time frame down for me. It was like general practice first or bankruptcy first?
General practice, and then more and more bankruptcy cases until I specialized in bankruptcy.
So general practice being litigation or transactional?
Transactional mostly.
Okay. And so you just kind of hung up a shingle, probably already knew a lot of people, that sort of thing? And then right around this time is a financial crisis, and I'm guessing that's why you specialize in bankruptcy, correct? So that ballpark that at like 2009, so that's like 2 years general practice.
Roughly.
And then for those 6 years, you were a specialist in bankruptcy law, correct?
Correct.
And then you made, so then why did you stop doing that?
Bankruptcy?
Just law in general.
Oh, because I had a child. I guess there's a lot of reasons, but I guess the strongest reason is because I had a child.
And what did that have to, how did that affect your decision?
The mom was had no money and required a lot of attention, and there's no way I could practice. I was stuck in a position where I couldn't practice law and spend time with family at all. I couldn't do it both. And yet, if I practiced law, then I kept developing this lifestyle that she would get accustomed to. So I, at that point, decided I would rather be poor, get her accustomed to that lifestyle, make myself less of a target for her, and then retire.
So did that happen? Are you poor?
I'm a lot closer to it now.
Then when you left the law?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do? So what was your transition like? What did you do instead in order to spend more? Well, let me take a step back. In addition to concerns about your family, what other reasons did you quit the law?
I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Why not?
I had traveled and seen other parts of the world, and all of a sudden what I thought what I was doing was very meaningful and a big thing seemed very small, and wasn't having as much impact on the world as I would have hoped.
So you wanted to travel?
Get out of the United States, yeah.
And I'm assuming with your family, correct?
Correct.
And did you do that
Yeah.
for a while?
Yeah. On and off.
And then why did you stop bringing your family along?
Compatibility issues.
Fair enough. And when you mean your family, you mean your wife and children?
Yeah, girlfriend and daughter and stepdaughters.
And you have one daughter
Correct.
and two stepdaughters?
Correct.
And those stepdaughters are you related to you or related to your girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Okay. And so you brought them along for a while in your travels, and your travels were commercial in nature, correct? In other words, there was a business purpose for your travels in addition to travel for leisure exclusively?
Yes.
So suffice to say, you had enough money at this time to be able to travel the world and support a family at the same time.
Correct.
And do you know how much money you had in reserve at that point?
No.
You don't remember? Did you still get royalties, for lack of a better term, from your business after you left?
Yes.
For a span of years or ongoing?
I have one last payment that just.
So it lasted
came
like
in.
5 years or something like that. And
I said I had one last payment. I think it's the last one, but
Okay.
I'd have to look back or ask the other attorney.
so this is a true statement then. As of January 2018, you are a millionaire lawyer visiting, never get busted.
Well, I didn't make that statement, but
You didn't correct it.
no, I didn't correct the
Right.
correct the statement.
Why do you think it's beneficial to have the perception that you're a millionaire lawyer?
Well, I was a millionaire lawyer. I mean, I achieved that goal, and then I decided it wasn't for me anymore. So
You just
I
got
no
sick-
longer decide to be a lawyer or a millionaire.
You just got sick of money.
Yeah, I got sick of being a target. Yeah.
But you didn't get sick of money.
I am sick of money. It's a necessary evil mechanism for trade, but yes,
So you are sick of money and sick of being a target.
yes.
So then, how do you get income now?
I don't.
How did you become wealthy besides your law practice? Any other way?
Yes. I inherited money.
From relative?
Yes.
Your dad?
Correct.
I know that your dad passed away some years ago, so as a result of that, and again, I don't mean to pry or be personal, but it's part of our investigation, part of what's relevant to the case. Anything else besides those two things?
Nothing jumps out as being significant enough. Those are the two main things.
All right. 53. Well, I'll save the exhibit here. This is just your state bar record. Indicates that you were admitted November 19th, 2007. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So 53 will be Cavell's sentencing criminal complaint against Mr. Cavell, his original one, back in 2009. How did you become friends with Mr. Cavell originally?